stop was set at like 9:57. It took an hour to break underneath. But Oscar is now going to be done. It was the initial move that's going to be the best. Like, I think the fail on Oscar was not having it be the first thing I look at, and then we didn't get into it until a little bit later. But again, it is what it is. A loss is a loss, and now we'll look for NVIDIA or Palantir. Hey, at this rate, it's not going to be Palantir. As NVIDIA is trying to break through VWAP, Palantir did just lose the low of the day. Palantir is now in the red. It does not hold the prior day close at all. So, yeah, I mean, at least it didn't actually set up a long trade. But it is low of the day here on PLTR, and NVIDIA trying to break out. It's now green on the session as we go over to Joey Options, Sharif, the professor himself. And I just noticed that Randy left us a present behind us, and I didn't even see it.
Oh, the bananas? Yeah, all right, see you guys.
You didn't say anything.
We tapped in.
Ooh, greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. He had a brace on the weekend, by the way. He put two.
Knee?
No,
Oh,
brace means two.
Oh, I'm like,
Yeah,
no, not
bad.
the knee, man, not the knee.
Welcome to the Midday Show. That's your boy Joey Options, and I'm Sharif. And who do we have here in the chat? Let's say hello, hello, hello. Broomstick. Get it, Broomstick. We got the hangry wife, the Brofessor. I actually really like that. And the Hitman, Joey freaking Options. We got the Fluffster. Shout out to Fluffy Hippo. We got the OG Gora, Vianix in the house. Shout out to RJ Trades. We got Yummy Thai Foods, Noisy, Billy Hardy, Cross Country Curious. Who else, man? We got M Downey. We got 100 Mario 81. Shout out to Suniza Patel, Rock Doc, Melaria, Slow Motion for me. We got Costavio. We got Joyce Money. JC Money, my bad. Randy Worms. Shout out to Soul Queen. Super, no. And then maybe yes. Shout out to Andrew Chow as well. Hinsey joining us as well as Mike PD Ryder. Los Polos Hermanos. We got RJD, 1320 Wolf. Kobe, the freaking kid. Whatnot Incorporated. And shout out to JC Trader. Good morning to everybody, brother. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to everyone. I hope everyone's having a fantastic Tuesday. Let's get right into things here, guys. Let's see what we got going on. You heard that I was chiming in the chat a little bit here about SLV. Well, let's see what was going on. So initial short at 74.60, and I'm like, hey, we're gonna get a neckline break. And what was I referring to when I seen that this morning? We'll go to a higher time frame. I'm like, oh, baby, let's go. We're going to play the break of this $74 mark. We can get in at the top of the range. It's in the notes here, guys. It's in the notes. I'm like, hey, if we fail to hold on the top end of this range, I'm playing the short to the downside. So anyways, moving forward, here we have a short from 74.60. It really starts to pick up momentum and steam. This ad was a little bit late. It should have been on this pullback because I'm like, hey, this is just a breath. This is nothing, essentially, from a strength standpoint. You can see from the volume by time profile as well, too. Relatively cool. Then we add 50% to our position right here, and then we get that move to 73.60, and I was looking for 73. I'm like, all right, we're going to rock and roll. But then sure enough, buyer step right back in, and I have to cut this position. I'm like, I can't allow this to go against me. So there it was. We take a small hit on that when the bulk of the position is up here with that ad. So we get out, and then we take one more attempt. Started to chop around, started forming these lower highs, and sure enough, I'm like, all right, let's go. This is the time. And it's the third one. The third one is always the charm. And sure enough, you get that break right into $73, which would have been my target. But we didn't get to participate in that one. Moving forward, guys, we're going to take a look at HIMS. That's correct. HIMS and HERS health right here. And we were fortunate enough to catch this short to the downside. A nice one. But on this spike up, I'm like, no, I can't allow me to give back that much unrealized gains once again. So sure enough, when we got that pop up, $18 was going to be my primary target, but I'm like, after this, let's just lock in whatever we got. We're not going to be greedy because we know how the saying goes, hogs get slaughtered. Moving forward, now we're in some OSCR, Oscar health to the short side. Starting to get a little bit of a rebound here, guys, but I'm playing a neckline break. What I'm seeing on the lower time frames, I would like to get a target of around $12.79. But once again, considering we're at a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, it's either break even or we're hitting the target of 13 bucks. We take a little bit off there. So that's what I got going on right now. You're not going to see it on the position board just yet until I do a transaction. Let's just hope that this pullback isn't too deep. We retest 1330, and that might even be an add opportunity. Let's see how price reacts around those specific zones. As for my watch list, this is what we have. Silver, Oscar, and HIMS. That's all we've got going on. We had it written down, and now I got my eyes on the TQs and the SPY as well, as it looks like we're slowly starting to curl over. This chop might lead to a potential breakdown, or is it going to be forming somewhat of a bull flag? I don't like that we're rejecting these pre-market highs and continuously coming back in. You punch through, selling pressure steps right back in. So the market kind of moving, well, it's not kind of, it is absolutely moving sideways. So be cautious of this chop. Those three names, and I was telling the boys in the chat, hey man, I'm avoiding some of the tech plays right now, and I think there's other quality opportunities, and you've noticed that within my trading. We're trading HIMS yesterday, we're trading Oscar Health today, and other names throughout the week. But one more thing before we send it off to my boy, and I promised Wendy's Tendies this. I said, hey man, I put a post on this on X about it a while ago. To be exact, here it is, September 22nd, 2025. Oh. Is this the start of a crypto winter, or are the treasury plays going to be enough to save the day? Well, it looks like the first thing was right. The start of a crypto winter is right. September 22nd, 2025. Let's pull up Bitcoin to see where exactly Bitcoin was at that date, guys. And we'll say, hey, man, Joe is pretty close to calling it, because I said, man, there was something fishy going on with Bitcoin back in September, especially in that that 126 range, once we couldn't break and continuously climb higher. So September, where are we? September 22nd is, come on, you can do it, right here. So at 112,000. I had a little fishy, I had some suspicion. I had that gut feeling that we were going to pull back, and sure enough, that was the case. So September 22nd, right around 112,000. Your boy called the crypto winter.
My man. All right, guys, let's get to work. Here is what I'm looking at. I know everybody wants to talk about PHIO, so let's start with that. That's the one that Neil called out in the pre-market, and it had looks to be its best move. Yes, exactly during that time, the pre-market, because at 9 o'clock on the dot, that's where we made the high of the day. I believe that is $1.57. And since that $1.57 print, as you can see, it's been a symphony of lower highs. Unbroken is this down trend line. Alas, we have the volume weighted average price kind of keeping the price at a certain floor. My only concern with this one is we get that, you know what we're talking about, flat bottom break. Because we have that, you know, general 130, 125-ish, basically a third to a quarter of a dollar as a price floor. All the while, we're making lower highs. We call that the descending wedge pattern, and it's typically bearish. It's usually preceded by an uptrend, much like this. So it's a bit of a reversal pattern. Now, I know that the descending wedge could be a continuation pattern, but in this case, it's certainly looking reversal pattern-ish. Now, that's the bad news. The good news is we're going to trade this exactly how we traded some others yesterday. We're going to wait for a decided break of that lower trend line. I'm not talking about a quick wick like the one that we got at 1020 over here, which probably pulled in a lot of longs and probably was a bit of a bull trap. We're going to be quite picky, decisive. We want a decisive clearing of that upper trend line, ideally on a closing basis, and then we're going to weasel into PHIO if it's warranted. So that's the first one. The second one is here, I was going to say Z, man. Can't help it. JZXN. Now, this one, looking at VWAP more like a line of best fit. You've been hearing me say that a lot more lately because it is. I mean, it's cutting right through the middle of the price action. What do you want me to do? So what I'm going to try to base my trade on are these higher lows. Now, we know we definitely have a seller at 250. Right? We saw that early on at 10 o'clock. We saw that again at 10:20. We saw a double top over here, 10:55 and 11. There's a seller at 250 despite the fact that the high of the day is 280. We spent all but no time there. In fact, when we did clear it, there was only one candle only that closed above 250 because this subsequent candle right there, the 10:15 candle, actually closed at 244. So we know that there's a huge seller at 250. We need to be able to shake that seller. So I don't necessarily need to wait for that breakout. What I can do is try to base my entry on this higher low pattern that we're putting in locally since that 1030 candle, which bottomed out. So that's JZXN, focusing on that. As you can see, I'm in a trade. NMRA, it's not the biggest mover on the day, but I like where it is relative to VWAP, so I'm trying to build a position in. A couple of beak wetters so far. It's really nothing to write home about. We're trying to build a position for a break of 3. Now, mind you, there is a seller of note here at 3. Let me just double check to see if they got shaken. They absolutely did not get shaken. So since I got into this trade, that seller at 3 has been holding us down. We're going to pause for a second. We're going to go to Adara, and then we're going to talk about some of the other ones we have.
Keep an eye on ASMC, American Superconductor, and BRKR here. We have an article coming out from The Verge. Of course, AMSC moving more obviously, but BRKR still getting a bit of a pop as well. Verge reporting that, quote, Microsoft wants to rewire data centers to save space. Superconducting cables could make for more compact data centers. So again, Verge more or less basically saying that anything in the superconducting space could benefit from Microsoft's plans to rewire data centers in a safe space-saving effort. So nice look there for AMSC and BRKR. If I get more details, I'll let you know. Back to you.
Continuing on, ORCX. This one is blocked on our system, but it is absolutely rocketing up today because Oracle is strong again. ORCX moving up into that 1181. Look, I mean, if you're going to execute on this, it's a good price. It's got good structure. You just got to have the permissions for it. Now, what I'd say is be very alive to a breach or a loss of that 10 EMA on the 5. That's a green line right there. It's been awfully respectful of it, but as we know, some of these buy programs or some of the bulls really do, take a break at around 11 o'clock, coming back to their desk, maybe 132. In any event, watch for the loss of 10. If the loss of 10 goes, you're looking for prior area structure. So I'm talking about that 11 1/3. There's an obvious area of resistance there. If that loses, then you're looking at 11 1/5, where the volume weighted average price is hanging out. So that's what I'm looking at there. Back to JZXN, excuse me. This one is working back into the mid 40s. Again, this is feeling flat top breakish. Right? It's kind of the opposite of what we were talking about with PHIO, where it was a descending wedge pattern, right? With a flat bottom break through VWAP. Almost the exact opposite look on JZXN. You've got ascending wedge pattern here with higher lows, and we know that 250 is a hard road to hoe. So this is what I'm going to be looking for here. JZXN, if it can take out 250, it can get really, really, well, who knows? Maybe we can get into 3. I think ideally, though, you should try to build your position around the low end of the area. I'm talking about 2 1/3, 240. If you get really lucky, maybe some 2 high 20 prints, give or take in that area. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to weasel on over. We already have what we need to do here on NMRA. And now we're going to look here on the trading screen at JZXN. It's up 82, 83%. And there it is, looking at the $0.5 and look at the selling coming in at the $0.5 there. Lots of prints, nary a print above that 50 penny area, and it continues to be that way. So that short seller, well, they're strong for now, but this ascending wedge pattern is a high probability pattern. And, so my spidey sense tells me that 250 seller, he better run for his life, because I think the longs are coming for him, Joey. Oh. I'm not able to move the market, but I know a lot of other people, well, I don't know them, but, other people can, and I think that, maybe they're going to move this guy here at 250. Adair.
When I hear an MSOS or other cannabis plays, Marijuana Moment reporting that an agency official at the DOJ is saying that the DOJ is working to identify the most expeditious means of executing the executive order on cannabis rescheduling. Again, cannabis rescheduling EO reportedly being worked on here by the DOJ, according to the Marijuana Moment. Nice pop here in MSOS. Back to you.
All right, yeah.
All right, Joseph options.
Yeah, good stuff, man. You got yours.
Ozan, he's back,
is
baby.
Ozan back? All right,
yeah, man.
Ozan is back, baby. All right, I could do a transaction for you here, guys. I could take a little bit off for the folks at home just to see what position I'm in. I would have liked to add on this retest, and this is what we were talking about, right? Like the retest of that support level, and then now we're heading a little bit lower. I want to have a target of this pre-market pivot low. I don't think we're going to get into 1078, like where we really start started going, but if this breaks 1286, then I think we're going to be sitting in a pretty good position, and I want to try to hold on to the bulk of it for today. I mean, we were in HIMS for quite some time. You can see from approximately 9:53 over to 10:30, so about 40 minutes or so over there on HIMS. Silver, we were in it. If we just held a little bit longer, and that's what I want to do, is just try to diamond hand through some of these pullbacks. If it gets a little bit more aggressive, maybe we add a little bit more, and then if we get that fortunate enough to get that curl over into the lower 13s, then we're really going to start to have a good time here. So slightly green here on the day, considering we took one loss on well, essentially 2 losses on SLV, which is totally fine, but we're up a little bit of coffee money here. I think Sharif and I would have to split a large. We couldn't get the protein stuff with what we're up today.
Gold foam. Joey, that's what I want, man.
The protein. Hey, man.
Foam, my boy.
I dig into the savings for that one, my boy. No, I'm obviously playing. So let's sit in some Oscar Health, guys. You can see that we're up 5% on the day, and then maybe we're looking for a little bit more of a continuation. I like this channel as well on the TQs, right? Like if we get this breakdown in the break of this 5182, maybe you get a little bit of a move towards some of these pivot levels here. But as soon as you start to open up on 5-minute time frames above these zones, watch out for the market to continue to rally. And with that being said, I say it time and time again, if you're trading the TQQQs, you have to keep an eye on the big boys and what they're up to. If they're continuously climbing higher and you're trying to short the market, well, best of luck to you, because the chance of it working are slim to none.
All right, man. We weaseled in here to JZXN. One print there at 49s, but true to form, that 50 seller is there. Now, as you can see on my screen, pardon me, you can see some unfilled dip trades. All right, here's 50 again. Let's watch. Big volume coming in. Even bigger volume rejecting the 50 breach there. Watching. Let's see if we can actually just even get a 51 print. So in these cases, I keep my eye on the time and sales. I'm looking for any 51 to come in, or even above the 50. I saw 51, and there it goes, Joseph, into 54. There's a seller at 54. We're going to cancel the 55 order, and then we're going to move it up, up, up. Let's go ahead. Let's go at 63, 55. Okay, they're selling at every level here. This is not good. There's a big seller at 55. You figure once you breach that 50 seller, you're going to be, you know, at least 10, maybe 7 pennies in the clear. You didn't. You got 5. And now there's an even bigger seller, but he got decimated. They killed him, Joey. Into 57 we go, looking for continuation into 60s. I'm posted up at 63. We're up 88.25%, and we're looking to do it live here into the 2/3 of a dollar. I should mention the high of the day, 281. But the closing prints, the closing and the opening prints on those candles at 10.10 and 10.15, they go into about the 2/3 of a dollar. So be looking for possible major area of resistance at 2/3 before we talk about 4/5 into that 81 penny area. So JZXN doing it live. I didn't even get my dip trades, man. I'm still working with the original amount here. I had a bias that this would, you know, dilly-dally into the volume weighted average price into the 1/3 of a dollar. Didn't. It did. It has a higher low now, and it has a higher high, and it's breaching the 50 penny area. I'm going to try to get some money fills possibly below the $0.5 dollar. Let's go ahead and wait here below the $0.5 dollar for some money fills. There goes 58. Current bar high, 58. Looking for continuation in a 60. 59 now showing up. Good strength here. Looking for a move. Let's go. All right, let's watch here. Can we get a breach of 60? There's 60. I'm waiting a little bit higher. There it goes, Joey, into the 70s. Let's wet the beak over here. How come it's not letting me wet the beak? There we go. We're going to wet the beak. It's a current bar high now of 71. It's almost 72. Let's go ahead and post at the 3/4 of a dollar. Good strength on this one. I told y'all, man, these higher lows with a flat top, they are a high reliability pattern, especially intraday. It's a story that is being told by these Japanese candlestick bars, man. That is what it is. It's showing you the story, but in a different way, without, you know, regular letters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Man.
So that's what we're watching right now, Joseph Options. We're looking for that 3/4 break.
It's a language, man. It's a language for sure that can most definitely display a lot of stuff here. So there we go, 1320s. A lot of ebbs and flows. Like these prints aren't genuine, right? Like there's dark pool prints, whatever it may be. It flickers a lot on my end. I gotta get Neil to show me. I remember he said, "Hey man, your stuff flickers quite a bit. I need to get Neil to show me what's going on." But yeah, I took 2% off there just for you guys. I would like to hold more into 13s, just so you can see what my position is. Now the position board isn't working, so thanks a lot for that one there, guys. No, obviously being sarcastic. But yeah, no, in all seriousness, man, it's been an all right one so far. Yesterday was a red day for me, start the money up, but I'm like, hey, we're ready to lock in, regardless of what's going on all week. Last week was a good one there, and after that, so let's just try to remain in the flow state and rock and roll in here, guys, as we're starting to slowly climb a little bit lower here in Oscar Health on the New York Stock Exchange. And you guys know how I feel about these nicey names. Glad we're all out of HIMS, as it's kind of right back to where my final out was. It had that slow curl over, so that's something that we're going to be keeping our eye on here in Oscar. If we don't get the breakdown, I think it's like once we breach this 1317 level, you can see there's a little bit of a support system there. So if we have the ability to breach that, I think we can head into that next leg, which is around 1280, and then that time we're going to start having a good time around that neck of the woods. I mean, best case scenario, you get all the way down here, but I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case, considering there was some strong opening drive moves here, and we're not opening drive, and the pre-market was relatively strong. So we'll just hold it on one step at a time, sweet Jesus. So yeah, that's what we got going on. And there goes silver down to 72.89. I promise I'll never sing again, but that's all right. No, no, it's I'm only playing around. No, it's good times, man. We're going to talk about the market, see what's going on. Oh, Gaurav, this is what I wanted to touch on. We're struggling, right? Like, so if you go back to what I was bringing you guys this morning, what I was showing you guys this morning, as for NVDA, is that we have this supply zone. So we're trading around 189.58. We did get a little bit of a pop, guys, in the pre-market, but we're heading right back into these supply zones, and you can see the concentration through the 90s. I think that we're going to start to push down here a little bit here in NVDA, just due to that. Let's pull it up so you can see it over here as well. It's just like, okay, boom, we get in the pre-market, not much resistance. Why? Because the options market isn't alive at that point. You pop up into 193.72, and then sure enough, as soon as the open comes, 192 doesn't look back, and you print the low as around 188, as low as 188. So keep an eye out on that, just in case NVDA wants to continue its downward trajectory.
All right, guys, we added into JZXN into the high 50s, just wet the beak there at 63s or 4s, looking for continuation. So this current bar, the 1120 bar on the 5-minute chart, has a higher low. It obviously has a lower high. The high of this candle is 64, prior bar high 75 on the dot. Here's the deal. Because we added here, I have to get a bit more conservative, so current bar low ends up being my out. We've got 58, current bar low, 53, so I'm just below that. It holds current bar low, I stay in the trade. Doesn't, I'm out, and I look to reset, likely around to see if there's gonna be a $0.50 buyer. If it doesn't hold at the $0.50, I'm looking at that 40 to 35 penny area. Reason is, the 10 EMA on the 5 at 40, the volume weighted average price at 35. So we'll see how this one ends up doing. Let's go to the other one now, NMRA. I just wet the beak there as well at 3. But this one, I don't know, man. It's starting to look more bearish than bullish. Let me make my case to you guys. I really don't know how this is gonna end up manifesting. But what kept me very optimistic about NMRA was how it was handling the dips into the 10 EMA. They all look to be bottoming tail-ish, meaning, to me anyway, that the longs were placing, buy orders at around that 10 EMA, because every time it dips in there, it's being bought up aggressively. Okay, fine, you can make that argument, but the other argument, the other side of the argument is, how about these unbroken lower highs? Can't shake them, nor can you shake the 3 seller on NMRA. So I am a little bit concerned about this one. I know full well where my out is going to be, because the volume weighted average price is about 10 pennies away from where we are at 285. So it loses me as a trader. It's really that simple, okay? I'm not going to fall in love with the name. I'm not going to, revenge trade. I'm gonna get this one back. I'm gonna make money on it no matter what. You know what I mean? Like there are other names that I can look at. So we're definitely looking at NMRA, but if it doesn't hold structure, I'm Gonzino. Simple as that. Let's look at the other one now. How's my other friend, JZXN? Well, it's awfully close to my stop out area. If it loses current bar low, I'm out. This candle has another couple of minutes doing its thing. We'll see how it ends up doing. By the way, it looks like the story might be all over for PHIO. That flat bottom break is coming in, and coming in quick. Man, I bet you Luis is all over this. We're going to have Luis Barbado tomorrow for all the small cap traders. He's going to be coming on with Joseph and I at around 1, right?
Yeah, 1 o'clock, man.
Yeah, so make sure to catch that. We're going to have a lot more detailed of a discussion with Luis. We're going to be talking a lot about these shorts on the small cap gappers. So I know a lot of people want to look short, myself included. So make sure you're with us tomorrow, because otherwise you're not going to learn what's good with Luis Barbado, who is, yes, a very, very good small cap trader. Joey Options. Yes, we got to go to Adair.
Could you quickly mention this headline from Tesla? Nothing major, but perhaps worth bringing up if you guys are seeing this roll around. Electrek reporting that Tesla is quoting $290,000 for its 500-mile electric semi-trucks. It's going to be the long-range version. So again, Electrek reporting that Tesla is quoting nearly $300,000 for its 500-mile electric semi-truck. Again, the long-range version. Back to you.
There, guys. All right, so we take a little bit more out at 1305, nothing substantial, another 10%. We're trying to hold this move into 13s, and if we're fortunate enough to get that pivot low, which I was talking about earlier, then it's going to be pretty good. So Oscar Health slowly starting to work for us, but you can see the volatility is most definitely cooling down here, guys, as the range it's taken a lot to break down, but as long as we don't have any aggressive buyers stepping back in and maybe we can get a couple clean more flushes, then we'll start to hit some more targets and get more and more out as we head a little bit lower here on Oscar Health. So 2 for 4, not too bad whatsoever. Coffee money up right now, and let's see if we can keep this party going. As silver heading down to 72.55, 72.55, and the market's starting to head lower as well, too, guys. And here it is. This is where you want to try to post up at the top end of the range, right? Because you don't want to have your risk to reward too wide. You're not wrong until it breaches up here. But if you get in around 52s and then you wait, you only have to give it 40 cents opposed to getting around 80s where you have to give it 60 cents, all right? So keep that in mind, guys. Just the nature of the beach as the market continues to chop. Watch for one more liquidity grab here in the TQs, and then maybe you get that slow curl over, or maybe things turn around in the overall market, all right? Once again, you want to keep your eyes on the big boys. Let's get this fixed up. We got my boy, all right, Adam. Real bad couple days trading, but wanted to stop in and wish some fine folks a beautiful day and week. This choppy trend market is tough stuff. Hey, man, listen, Adam, a couple tough days, but don't forget, you had back-to-back record days as well, too, right? That's just how it goes sometimes. You swing big, you miss big, and that's the nature of the beast. As long as you keep those losses in check, like as Neil would typically say, you're going to be fine in a matter of time. And it's weird because when you're trading, I'll go over charts on the weekend because I'm like, oh, I don't want to forget how I did it. I don't want to forget how I did it. But that's just not how it is. If you're consistently looking at these charts, you'll remember, you'll find the quality setups. Not everything goes as you would like it. And that's just how everything is, right? Like, well, I'll pull something up for you guys right now. Full disclosure, I'm not going to get into too much of the detail. But I was like, hey, man, we were rocking and rolling. We were having a good time. And I'm like, hey, sometimes it feels like they'll never end, but they do sometimes, right? So coming off of holidays, not too bad, right? Like, we're not going to complain. So that I shouldn't say holidays when I can't even walk, really. So this is me coming off of my knee injury. I have 2 red days, knock on wood, that is. Yeah, so we'll see if we can keep this momentum going, getting in the flow state and just trying to remain things. But it's like when you have this, it's like, oh, man, no, did I forget everything that I was doing before? No. Sometimes the market just isn't, you're not in sync with the market, and that's totally fine. So keep an eye out on that. Make sure you guys are documenting all your trades, journaling, writing things down. I told you, if you get frustrated, write it down. You know who I learned that from? Who? Theo Vaughn. Theo Vaughn, he's like, a while ago, a long time ago, and I used to open the Word doc, I tell you, and just like, and just go
get
nuts.
Your emotions
just get all out there. And like, if you can't say it out loud, write it down. And there it is. So that's how I was going. Knees doing okay, guys. Thank you very much.
Make Joe purple again. What does that mean, Ozan? Your name is purple right there.
Joey,
did you see this? So you know how, okay, so he scored on the weekend. Look at this.
Who's this guy?
So he's covered his face, and then Martinelli covered his eyes.
Oh, yeah.
It's like one guy's covering the bottom part, the other guy.
How do you use that one guy?
Yeah,
do that
don't
one
start
thing,
that,
man?
bro. That's
Did
just
you
so
do it?
hard to do. I did before.
I think I got it one time.
So
too.
did I.
Yeah,
so did I.
yeah,
And like,
but-
have you seen like the one that where you go like this and like you pop up a couple of fingers?
No.
Oh,
It's
don't even get me
crazy.
started.
I like that stuff. This guy's like
Correct.
Theo Vaughn, bro. Yeah, Theo Vaughn is hilarious.
Theo Vaughn's sick. Man.
Yeah,
I like him.
exactly.
I think he's hilarious, and I think
sick.
he's undercover smart. Like he comes off, you know, as that like
Because
that doofus guy.
yeah,
But he's not at
exactly.
all.
But he's not.
actually.
He's a little bit smarter than what you think. He just has
Exactly.
that persona.
There we go. All right, guys, stopped out of JZXN. It lost the $0.50, so I'm out. Now I'm looking for a trend continuation. So the way that I see this one looks like it's holding the higher lows in and around mid-40s. We'll see. We'll see. I'm going to set up a dip trade for the mid-40s with a view to defending the volume-weighted average price, which is in the mid-30s. So that would be the worst-case scenario for me. So we're going to try to put an order here below the $0.50. Now, mind you, because we closed in a doji candle, I'm talking about prior bars, so the 1120 candle on the 5-minute, it closed as a doji candle engulfed by the prior green candle. I'm putting a breakout trade on top of that, meaning that if the bar, whatever bar that is, ends up breaching that 265, 266 area, I'm going long, okay? So we're gonna see how this one does. It just dipped down, dang it. It dipped down into 48s. I had my order at 45s, and now it's moving back up. So we'll see if we can work our way in, but at the moment, neither print to the top side or the low side. Hangry Wife, 100%. Shout out to Hangry Wife. Shout out to the niece, says King Clutch. Delion, Sharif, bro, I got a great deal for you. I got a bridge to sell you. No, just joking. You're talking about Arsenal, huh? Okay. You know, we're on top of the Prem, right? 6 points clear of City. So, you know, we're looking decent. We're
Did you
looking
get 3
decent.
points a win in
3 points a win, 1 point tie. So Liverpool, if they had done what they should have been doing, which is win on Sunday, they were at home, they were winning 1-0 late into the game, and then they choked. They gave it up. And then the City scored a couple of goals, could have been a third. And the funny thing is, the dude who scored, Szoboszlai, Dominic Szoboszlai, he ended up getting sent off because Haaland was about to score. You know that giant alien-looking guy?
Oh, yeah, I love Haaland.
Yeah, Erling Haaland. He was about to go. He was a breakaway, so he pulled him. You can't pull last man back. It's a straight red, right?
Oh.
Yeah, you get tossed immediately. Now he's suspended. So anyway, Liverpool didn't help Arsenal. I'm not surprised there. Funny enough, though, Tottenham helped Arsenal. And you guys know exactly what I'm talking about there. If you know, you know.
Dude, one time I was on, I think it was Dundas Street, and everybody was going nuts for Holland. They're just like chanting his name.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like he's
Pretty nasty,
one of the
though,
best
isn't he?
players in the
Yeah,
world.
exactly.
Let's just
He's
get the,
nasty.
let's cut the crap.
Yeah,
he's one of the best players in the world. I don't like him.
What?
He's a competitor.
Yeah,
he's a direct competitor to Arsenal.
Yeah,
I hate everybody on Liverpool except Mo Salah for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I hate everybody on City except Omar Marmoush for obvious reasons. And you know that's the way it's going to be. You know.
I like Zlatan, man. That guy's just Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Oh yeah.
All he knows is winning, man.
Yeah, and he's got
an
quite
ego.
the character,
Yeah,
bro.
he's an ego
Quite
too.
the character.
Yeah.
Love it. Or Alpha, Sharif, 3K, third day of using deep charts today. Get this platform immediately, bro. Say less. We're gonna take a picture of it so I don't forget.
What is it?
It's called Deep Charts. We're gonna check it out. Shout out to Fluffy. Hate is a strong word. Yeah, you know, I exaggerate for effect, Fluffsters. I don't really hate too many people. Delion, Wendy's 10, okay, he's talking to somebody else. All right, we got a super. Shout out to Lisberto. $5 super chat, thank you. Great day. I'm up $1,600 more than my $500 daily goal. We appreciate you guys. Shout out to Juan Padilla for the tips. Hope everyone is having a good day. Thank you very much, brother. Shout out to Juan Padilla for doing it live in the chat. And thank you to Lisberto. Ozan, I don't hate Joe at all.
Thanks,
Why?
Ozan.
What is this?
Thanks, Ozan.
Guju Trader, Sharif, born and raised in the UK. Died hard Spurs, babe. I don't know if you're a die-hard Spurs, babe, or you died hard. I don't know, maybe it's a play on words, but thank you very much. One more. We got a super over here from Adam James Abroad, my man. By the way, Brett, Adam, loving the posts. You and the wife look like you're having a fantastic time. Opera Bob's Dundas West Man City Pub. Yeah, you're not going to catch me there. I promise you that.
It might be that. Prestige worldwide, though, Trader Joe. For sure, I'm all about prestige.
There you go. All right. Adair is waiting at the big desk.
Before we get to crypto, I really quickly want to talk about some news. Now, it's worth noting Schwab and Morgan Stanley just came to my attention here, just seeing this posted about on social media, but they're both down pretty heavily today. Looks like this is being attributed to a move by Altruist Financial Planning Services to roll out an AI tax planning feature that reads client documents and also basically helps generate tax strategies and run what-if scenarios without manual entry. That's going to be available to any advisory firm, priced at $60 per seat per month. So again, Schwab and Morgan Stanley reportedly looks like they could be dropping after facing some AI competition, specifically with regards to tax planning. Let's talk here about Robinhood, HOOD, of course, not exclusively a crypto name, but certainly one in the crypto space. Now, last year, their cryptocurrencies revenue increased by 300%. Year over year. So crypto revenue is certainly something to watch for Robinhood. Now that's included within their transaction-based revenue segments. So it's part of that larger subcategory worth noting. Overall for Robinhood, we had over 100% year over year growth in a lot of segments. So HOOD certainly being helped by crypto, but likely to be strong across the board. Let's talk about Bitcoin because this is super choppy. Intraday, or not intraday, but on the daily chart here with this range, you've got, again, this goes back to Saturday, this base of around 67,300. Top here that we made on Sunday, going back to roughly 72,000. So within that 5,000 point range, more or less. Now, the last 2 days, we've been trading an even tighter range, low here of around 68,000, top of around 71,000. So roughly 3,000 point range for BTC. Nothing super exciting to talk about in this daily chart. Ethereum looking more or less the same, though actually poised to break out its range from, that started on Saturday. The base of that range for Ethereum around 2,000. Looks like we briefly touched that level earlier today. Back to you.
Thank you very much. All right, guys, just keeping an eye here on JZXN for a break above 65. That's where my breakout trade is situated. It still hasn't crossed that, so we're not getting the print, but it's still holding that upper trend line. So at any point here, I'm going to add into this position. By the way, I was just telling your boy Joey Opsh, Tesla finding a really nice bounce off the volume weighted average price. That could be interesting for some traders, especially with that semi headline coming out. We're going to get more on that semi as soon as things slow down. We'll get to read the article by Electric. We'll kind of do a deep dive. A lot has been made about this. I'm sure you guys have seen the back and forth that Elon has had with Bill Gates and Gates' opinions initially on the feasibility or lack thereof of an electric semi. So we'll get into all that when we have a bit of a slower moment here, Joey.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, so we're getting a pretty big bounce here, guys. I mean, this isn't genuine, but like we almost wicked a little bit south of 13.05 and into that $13 mark, right? But now we're starting to get this bounce, so I have to be prepared, unfortunately, to give some back and get out and trail this stop once we get to a certain benchmark, right? Like I'm not going to give some back, all of it back, that is, if it doesn't slowly start to curl over. And here's what I was talking about with the market. It's just channel trading, so you want to try to catch the top end of the range, sticking to just the names that I have on here right now. Silver was ideal, running into that $73 mark. It just took some time before it got to those specific levels. Now, running through the mag, let's see what Apple's been up to here on the session. Oh no. Yeah, why is it doing that?
What happened, Joey?
No, it was just taking forever to load there. Okay, Microsoft pretty strong here today, guys, right? Like so, oh, Apple. Gorev was short this yesterday, so nice play there, brother, as you were heading towards a key neckline. So this is going to be yesterday's post-market and then the pre-market here, and you get that curl over, consistent lower highs to the downside right there. Keep an eye out on AAPL for a potential flat bottom break around there. There's NVDA. Watch out for a nice move higher, right? Liquidity grab. With these names, just because the ebbs and flows, they pull back so often, it's just like so many candles are overlapping each other. You want to catch the top end of the range and give yourself a little bit of a wider stop. That's where I went wrong in SLV. I'm like, what can I do better to make sure that doesn't happen and I don't miss the bulk of the move? A little bit less shares, wider stop, and then that'll allow you to just sit there, be free, be slightly distracted. Okay, you get that pullback, we can sit through this, no problem. And then eventually you get the leg that you wanted to, unless it hits your stop, right? right? Moving forward, what's Amazon up to? Coming back into VWAP as well, too, helping with the overall market selling there, guys. So keep an eye on Amazon. Tesla, Sharif was talking about this not too long ago, 5-minute and 10-minute time frame. You're right at the volume weighted average price, and it looks like it wants to hold up there. Bouncing off of yesterday's highs as acting as current support, so not too bad of a look whatsoever on TSLA. And Google strong out of the gates. I told you guys we got that. Oops, ooh, that was risky there, Sharif. I went to the weekly instead of going to the daily. You know that can freeze the system up real quick around these neck of the woods. But here's that trend line.
We have small dreams.
Yeah,
like, we don't charts to load.
We don't ask for much, right, around here. So here it is, right? Like, we've seen the same thing in Microsoft. I don't think this is going to be necessarily the same case in Google and Microsoft, but watch out. We are on the backside of this trend. We've had multiple touches, and now we're slowly starting to sell. What might happen here is a little bit of sideways price action, and that's what you want to see, right? Condorland, and Condorland a little bit more. So not too bad of a look there on goggles, considering they've reported. So you're good. You're not going to see any major volatility spikes unless you have some form of a headline. Same thing here with Meta, guys, moving to the downside, helping drag the overall market with it.
All right, a couple of new small cap gappers because JZXN has basically lost the trend. It's trying to stay above VWAP now, but I'm going to stop trying to focus on this one and focus on some others because it's just occupying my my attention there without really any due reward. WULF, shout out to 2 New York cents. I want to get to ASTI. Shout out to Yannick for that one. WULF looking fantastic over here. Let's actually put it on the side chart so we can see percentage up. It's not up big on the day. It's only 5 1/3, but it's a great looking chart pattern. So we're going to see if we can pick some up off here off the 10. So that's WULF. And then we also have ASTI. This is a great looking, even though it's got not great volume for $8 at around this time. It's only done about 3.4 million shares, but it doesn't matter because we've got a couple of bull flag continuations. I'd say this one really started getting off at around 9:55. You get about 20 minutes of consolidation until the candle there at 10:20. You get another breakout there, bull flag number 2, the range of which is 780 for the most part to the downside, and then about 810 to the upside. So you're going to get about 30 penny range, give or take here on ASTI. My suggestion to you is, of course, try to build it towards a lower end of the range. You are putting in some higher lows, at least since that candle there at 10:55, so you might have to pick it up at a bit of a higher price. To me, though, you lose the trade below 7 2/3 because that's where the volume weighted average price is. So let's go ahead and try to weasel into ASTI. I'm going to take off JZXN over here, JZXN, yeah, ASTI on the NQ, yes, okay. Bit of a spread here, 03s on the ask, 91 on the bid. That displeases me, but we're going to try to work in anyway. Let's set up a possible entry at 95. So we'll try the midpoint over here, see if we get the fill. We do not, but I'm going to put some more dip trades as well for, I want to say, the mid-80s. Let's see if we can weasel in to a mid-80s trade there. We're going to go 86, see if we can pick something up in and around that level. For now, though, I'm just trying to work into the trade. I don't want to punch at the highs, but I do see a possible, break through that top end of the range and bull flag number 3. You never really know how this is going to end up working out, right? Whether or not it ends up losing the level or you get a false breakout to lure everybody in like we got on JZXN. We'll have to wait and see. Separately, I wanted to mention PHIO because PHIO is really losing it here. And this one is a golden short. So whoever has locates on PHIO, good on you. This one could easily see, I want to say $1.10 to $1.15, just based upon what we did in the pre. So keeping an eye on that. Sorry, I'm just flipping to one of my scanners here. A lot of people are talking about Jagu. What's going on with this Jagu thing? Why is it down so much? Why are people talking about it? Give me a sec here. So, is this an IPO? Hold on. Yeah, it is. Okay, so it's an IPO. So Jagu IPO. It's called Jaguar Uranium. It's on the Amex. And what we saw, Joey, remember Uranium was all sorts of strong yesterday?
Yeah.
So interesting time. So on the Amex, as I said, so Jagu, this is an IPO. Looks like it opened up. Let me look at the 1 minute so I can give you the exact time. Looks like it opened up at about 11.17. So it's 43 now. It's really losing the bid. It opened up, I want to say, at 528 or 525. The low is 374. It's trading at 4 now. Volume weighted average price is about 425, 430. So Jagu, something to keep an eye on, obviously, but you know how these IPOs are. Be careful with them. Quickly here, just before we go to Adara for happening now, and then Neil's got his lesson of the day. Quickly looking here, we don't have... Okay, no problem. Let's go to Adara. She's actually got information on that Jagu IPO.
So we're priced here at $4 per share. We opened at $5 per share before immediately halting, obviously. But again, so opening above expectations here for Jaguar Uranium. Offer amount $25 million, offering 6.25 million shares. That's the detail here for JAGU. Again, we did open $1 above that price of $4 per share for JAGU IPO. Back to you.
Thank you for that information, Adara. All right, guys, so we're going to keep an eye here on Jagu. Look, I mean, if it starts trending up, obviously we can get locates, but they're probably going to be quite expensive, especially on the IPO day. So I'd rather take this long. I'm going to keep my eye on it. I'm probably going to take off that hot garbage JZXN, and we're going to put in Jagu. And if I like what I see on the trend, we're going to get in. Simple as that. But for now, Joey Opsh, we just worked into the new one over here. ASTI, and I'm looking at building my position here into the range. What do you got, my man?
Good stuff. I'm just talking with Stock Ed 983 here.
Right.
I mean, it sounds like you've done your due diligence, my friend. I was just going to say what I was typing here. By all means, go with the plan, right, and just stick with it. And if it doesn't work, then so be it. And if it works, then we'll hit this one for you. Just be cautious, right? Like, because these assets have been so strong for so long, do you want to be going and counter trend them right now? And I talk about just making our lives easier as a trader. Like, it's like, hey, Joe, what's the bottom on Bitcoin? What's the bottom on Netflix? Like, me even trying to do so myself. Full disclosure, I own Netflix shares, I own iBit shares, but from a while ago, and I'm not just trying to bottom pick anymore. I'm waiting for trends to be broken, and then once they are, then price will dictate enough. Let's take a little bit more off here on Oscar as we run into 1303 on the bid. So we'll post up there to see if we can catch that fill here, guys. On Oscar, a little bit more of a move down. That's exactly what we wanted to see as the market is continuing to ebb and flow. HIMS starting to head towards the low of the day as well, too, guys. Bang! Oh, we caught that fill. Nice. We'll take it. So a nice little move there on Oscar Health. So yeah, just go with the flow, man. Write your game plans out. I told you guys before, like I made a big mistake, even though I did have the ability to kind of mitigate some of the loss with just writing calls. It was substantially my largest loss by far on those IBIT calls. And thankful that I was just like, if I knew more of what I was doing, I wouldn't have took such a big loss and got out when I was supposed to. But instead, I'm in panic mode and I'm writing calls, which we're fortunate enough to collect some premium, but still my largest loss by far. Stock Ed and Trader Joe, thank you guys very much. Appreciate it. It's not necessarily that. It's just go with what you've planned, what you've worked on, what you've done, and execute that. Go long Apple, says Harry GA. All right, man, let's see. Should I just go long? And I'm obviously being extremely sarcastic here. We're not just going to go long Apple because Harry GA told me to, but we will take a look at it once again and see what we got going on. It looked like it was going to break down a moment ago when we were just covering it. Is it going to be in the same path? Yeah, so there's nothing here other than these support levels that are telling me to go long. Look at the breadth, right? Like, so if we talk about the strength within, Sharif was mentioning it, I mentioned it multiple times before, each individual candle tells its own story, right? And if you look at the volume and correlate everything, to me, look how much weaker the buying is than what the actual selling pressure is. So this could be just a potential breadth, and you can see the strength within these candles. We talk about effort and result and cause and effect, right? Like effort, and what do I mean by effort and result? Well, how much volume is there, and then what is the result of that candle print? Okay, and that's what I used to gauge. Is it going to be right all the time? Absolutely not. I lost a little. Well, I didn't lose any. I got out prematurely on HIMS, just going by what the volume was telling me with that clean up push, but sure enough, it curled over and went right to the low of the day, all right? So it's VPA 101, Gorv's all over that as well too, so effort and result, keep an eye out on that one there, guys. $13 is where we got a little bit out, 1301 on Oscar Health. We're looking for this to continue to move. I think the next target for me is going to be that 1280 level. Let's see if we can hold on to the bulk of our position. I'm sitting on approximately 75% now.
Joey, have you seen some of the RAM names lately? Micron, 2.25 and negative. Yeah, SanDisk, 4.25. Yeah, WDC, 8.
You could be the biggest dog in the house. Like aside from what gold is doing, the market will. You always have those opposite reactions.
100%.
In the market.
There'll be a buying opportunity most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time, right?
All right. Shout out to Hinsey. I'm just, I always like when everybody around me is in good juju, a good mood, because then it comes back around. I've made this point before, right? If people around you have good dispositions and are in good mood, it's a bit of a selfish reason to keep them in that good mood, because then that's gonna, filter onto you. So good mood by osmosis. Shout out. All right, guys, here's what I'm involved in. ASTI right now. We're taking prints. I just took 807s. I'm in at 796. I'm trying to build a position in what I perceive to be a 30-penny range with 780 as support, 810 as resistance. So I'm just trying to build it up here and then see if we can get a break through that 8.25. That is the high of the day. So a couple of unfilled prints towards the lower end of the range. We're packing the patience and we're looking for a little bit more. NMRA. Curling up a little bit here. Now, we got a seller at 96. It's a much slower of a mover. All right, we're into 97 now, but it's giving me that rounded vibe. That I don't want to say it's a bottom because we're not at the bottom, but it's giving me that rounded pattern shape where it kind of forms a base and then the subsequent candles a little bit higher, the little bit higher highs, a little bit higher lows, kind of showing you that rounding pattern. So let's see what NMRA has to offer. I'm packing the patience over here. ORCX, can't trade this one, but it is on the move. What's going on with this? How come my time and sales? Did my time and sales disappear onto another
over there this morning?
Did you actually?
Yeah.
All right, say less. Where I'm trying to, that's a level 2. Show yourself. All right, well, it's not here. Who cares? ORCX, again, this is an ETF for ORCL, up 7.9%, well off the highs though, 1181. I've been keeping an eye on this. It holds structure. 11 1/3 ends up acting as support, and now we're knocking on the door of 11 1/2. So keep your eye on that one. We can't trade it, but we'll call it out for you guys. All right, we got a dip here in ASTI. It's time to check if we got that dip trade. Yes, we did. We got filled into the bottom wick, looking for a hold here, but I know exactly where my levels are. So let's go ahead and throw in that other dip trade here just into the high 70s so we can defend that area. But we're going to look for continuation into the high. So I got 92s. Let's go ahead and set up a little bit higher into 98s. And then my next profit taker is going to be substantially above that level. We'll go 1818 for the holds. So that's my look. No others that I'm liking at the moment. But as always, guys, if there are small cap gappers making moves, I'd love to hear about them from you guys. As long as there's a couple of prerequisites that I really want to drive home. Good volume relative to the price and relative to the time of day. It's contextual. And then number 2, it's got to be above the volume weighted average price and above the pre-market high. We'll talk more about that when we get back from the big desk with Adara. She's got breaking news.
BBBY, guys, that is Bed Bath & Beyond trading higher after the company just posted, like literally minutes ago here on their X account, that they will be participating in ChatGPT's introductory ads pilot launching this week. So again, BBBY participating in ChatGPT's introductory ads pilot. Nice look here for Triple BY. That is Bed Bath & Beyond. Back to you.
Man, I was first started trading. I was like a couple months in when this thing was all going down. That was a while ago.
Hold on, I'm so confused. Oh, it delisted.
Yeah.
It delisted from January 23rd, 2024, and then it relisted, according to my charts, August 28th of last year, 2025. Okay, I didn't even know this got relisted, dude.
That's crazy.
I had no idea. So a chasm there in the chart. Again, January 23rd, 2024, the low of that price was 23.81, and then it opened up August 28th, 2025. The high there was 960, it's showing 592 high today. I didn't even know this company was still around. Shows how much I know. So we'll keep an eye out.
Yeah.
Fluffy. SUNE has been respecting VWAP for now. Let me have a look. That in, Joey? SUNE says Fluffsters. Get it, Casey. I like this, Fluffy. It's not the best chart pattern, but what I'm liking here is some higher lows. I'm liking the higher lows. If it can hold 11 1/3, and generally this trend line over here, I think you might have something with this. I'm going to keep it on the side chart, and we'll see what's good with this bad boy here. But for now, I'm going to try to focus on the ones that I've got, Joey. What do you got?
Thank you. Matchcam 8371. You know exactly why we're doing it. No, that's funny. That made me chuckle. Did you see what she said? Bunch of comedians in the chat.
Yo, whatever, man. People will do whatever they have to do to get on the right side of the trade, my boy.
Man, that is what it is, man.
Yeah.
We'll do whatever. Everybody's searching for their edge. All right, guys, a nice little pop there in Oscar NY. Let's see if this is going to be sustained, right? Like if this downtrend breaks, then maybe we have to piece a little bit more out. Once again, I'm sitting on 75% of it. We don't want to give too much back. We did rock into that $13 mark, almost, not quite. But I mean, as Ricky Bobby's dad once said, you're not first, you're last. So we're going to be patient, wait for the market. Not performing well today, guys. I just feel like this channel trading is not a part of my book. I like a nice, clear direction. You want to catch the top end of the range, lower end of the range, and sell the highs, essentially. So keep an eye out what we got going on here in the overall market and some of those big boys. I'm not going to sway. Like if it's going to be one of those days where it's just like, hey, you're not knocking it out of the park, but just like you get a base hit, a couple base hits, and sure enough, that's kind of maybe the narrative of the past couple of sessions. Could have happened for us yesterday, but that wasn't necessarily the case. So we'll accept the base hit here today. Once it breaks, I got to think about my trailing stop, 25s. I'll just call it, right? I'll just get out of it. It won't be very much. But anyways, it's better than nothing, right? And someone said this to me. He's like, hey, I was short 500 shares of silver, a couple $100. I'm like, hey, imagine you were down a couple $100. And even so, like when you're down, you're like, oh man, I wish I took that whatever it was amount, and instead you did, and you're looking for more, and then you let the trade go against you, and that's not what you want to do. So, all right, come back in. We're gonna keep our eyes out on the tape here on Oscar Health. We traded the 3 names on the list today. That's gonna be Oscar, Silver. Oh. Datadog is something that, Datadog was moving higher. Do I got it up here? We're going to have to implement it. We're going to insert a row right here. D-Dog, how can I forget you? 132, just moving sideways at this point, guys, on the 5-minute time frame. We'll head over to the higher time frames as well, to 10-minute. We'll double that. I'm surprised the 10-minute's not a little bit more popular. Nice, even number. Makes sense, no? Right? Like, I know most people trade on the 5 and the 1. It's like, who wants these odd numbers? In the 15,
I think it's a quarter hour, maybe.
Yeah, maybe something along the lines to do with that. But Obi likes the 15. But there it is, Datadog starting to form a little bit of a bull fight, couple stair steps to the top side. And you didn't get the break of this previous pre-market high, but now you're starting to slowly cook up here, guys. Be patient on this one. If it does want to break down, look for those 133 zones to hold up.
I'm liking this one by Grunfeld, QNCX. I like it. I like the chart pattern. I'm not necessarily a fan of the price. You guys know how I feel about these sub $1 stocks, but you can't argue with a good chart pattern, and this is what it looks like there. This is the 5. Clearly made a move at 405 yesterday. It looks like it's probably an earnings play. Just double checking my blotter. What the hell? Tuesday. Why is this moving up? Just quickly. Pre-market session, company has engaged LifeSci Capital to serve as exclusive financial advisor. Okay, so it's not earnings. I just had a buy. I said it was earnings because it was a 405 headline. In any event, it was strong yesterday, and it's strong again today, and you've got a whole lot of support here. VWAP has been very, very good on this one, whether it was in the pre-market or after, and there it goes into the day high. It is up 171%, so this looks real good here. QNCX, Jagu loses its spot on the side chart, replaced by QNCX. We're going to weasel into this one if it's warranted, man. Let me just go ahead, QNCX, and throw that on there. This is a good-looking pattern. Let's see if it comes back down to test that third of a dollar, because I perceive that to be like the flat top break. It's at 35 right now. Let's see if it dips into 30 to 32. Well, not 30. I'd say 32. 32 to 33. If we can pick it up around there, you could also get in now and then DCA into that level and then give yourself to 30. It loses 30. You're out. But it looks quite good here. My only issue with these ones, and I've just seen too much, man, you know, that they end up being a thick trade, and it ends up being really hard to kind of clear some levels. But hey, beggars can't be choosers, and I'm certainly not finding a whole lot to trade today, and that's been the case for a while. So QNCX, we're going to put that bad boy on there, and we're going to set up some dip trades to defend that 30-penny area. I'm just throwing it onto the side chart. Allow me a sec, and there we go. What the hell did I just replace? Okay, NMRA, we're okay with that one. ASTI, we're still building a position, so we can go ahead and put this one over here. QNCX on the NQ, there we go. So 35.40, the day high. I'm talking pennies here, not dollars. And there it goes, 35.44, new day high. So the strength is on. Let's see if it dips in. I don't know if it's dipping. You know what? I'm going to get in small share size here so we can take some continuation plays. And then we're going to set up the dip trades again, like I articulated, into those key levels. Let's go ahead and set up some as well over here, 0.34. And then we're going to defend as well, 0.32. So let's go ahead and do that. And if it loses 30, I'm out. Okay? So that's what I'm looking at there. No continuation above 35. I'm just going to go ahead and put some profit takers in case this one does get a price spike up. But I don't anticipate this one to be as directional as I had hoped. So we'll try to exercise some patience on this one. So ASTI, I haven't set up a stop on this now. I have got to set it up here. So I'm going to base it on this prior area low, the low of which is 764. So let's go ahead and throw that on there. And then we'll give it to that range. And then how many shares do we have? Okay, we're good to go. Let's see if we can kind of build that position and take a break up. Juan Padilla, Lisberto is still not your uncle. What?
You're saying he's still not unk.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm old.
But see, that's the thing with Juan, right? Like, Juan's my boy. Listen, when I was your age too, brother, did I ever think... Yeah, he's in his 20s.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in his 20s, right? I'm like, my friend, did I ever think I was going to be 30? No, you think you're going to stay young forever, but time waits for no one.
I knew I was going to get old. I just didn't think I'd be in the kind of shape that I'm in at my age. That's the only thing.
That's fire, man.
And can I say something to you?
That makes you younger, though.
But, okay, it's great when you're in it, but it also, when you don't anticipate that you're going to be able to hold that into your older age, you end up doing a lot more and accelerate a lot more in your younger years. You didn't need to accelerate. That's the wisdom I've acquired from, you know, trying to hit the gas a little bit artificially. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you.
And anyway.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't like. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm struggling, but I'm like, man, the 20s were it. The 20s were it, man. I get in my 30s now. I'm like, man, time's a ticking, man. Time's a ticking. It's crazy.
I appreciate you, Trader604. I'm sorry, Wyatt, man. I hate to, you know, upset you over there, brother. I'll slow down, I promise.
Who won?
No, Wyatt. Well said.
What did Wyatt say?
All right, guys. It is that time of the day. The clock hits noon, 12 o'clock on the dot. That means we're going to the big desk for happening now, and then Neil is going to pontificate with his lesson of the day.
30 was hard, man.
Here's the S&P 500. We'll start with on the 15-minute chart. Pretty choppy here, though, again, holding slightly higher lows if you look like for starting from pre-market and then also the lows that we got right off the day. Again, though, kind of a choppy session. Nasdaq looking more range-bound rather than choppy, with not even having those higher highs that we have, higher lows that we have in the SPY. Let's talk here about Morgan Stanley and Schwab, both of these getting hit pretty hard today. I did mention this earlier, but in case you missed it, this is moved down as being attributed to Altruist, which is, I guess, a tax planning service. They announced they're adding a AI tax planning helper to their Hazel program. So that only costs $60 a seat a month anyway. So people are, again, raising some concerns in addition to these worries that we have about the software as a service sector being taken over by AI. Now we even have tax planning with some AI alternatives. Then I want to talk about BBBY, which just popped here. Bed Bath & Beyond announcing that they are participating in ChatGPT's introductory ads pilot, which launches this week. Earnings, of course, are absolutely going to be on watch still. We had already day one earnings moves from the likes of Spotify, Coca-Cola, not DraftKings, Datadog, and Ferrari. But then tonight after the bell, we're going to get Lyft. We are going to get Ford. We're going to be getting Robinhood, by far the biggest of these, Cloudflare, and also Upstart. So it'll be a really exciting post-market earnings slate, 4 p.m. Eastern. Myself, Neil, Brendan, and Sean. Don't be late and don't miss it. But also don't miss, in just 1 hour from now, we're going to be getting a White House press briefing from Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. Sometimes market-moving things can be said. So if you want to be there for that and see what happens, definitely stay here with me at 1 p.m. We'll cover all of that for you live. But in the meantime, we have live coverage on Neil's lesson of the day. Neil, lesson time.
Thanks, Adara. Yeah, time for the lesson, and one that, the lessons usually, it's for everybody, but, sometimes it's like I'm directing it more at myself than other days, and this would be one of those days. It's just about if you have something that works, and if something is part of your execution plan, it's okay to have other types of entries or other types of executions out there. However, if your go-to is working, don't jump into another lane, because what'll happen is it'll just muddy the situation up for you a lot of times. And I'm going to stare this down. We talk about this all the time. I take the stairs up and whatever, stair step pattern. Buying the dip was something that got talked about here on an upward trend this morning, and some viewers are even mentioning if you're looking for shorts, short the rips, which just means, short into that lower high, like that kind of a thing. And one of the setups I like for a short is pretty much exactly that. Like it's a pretty standard playbook for me. If you get a fail, if I don't see resistance level, and we'll come to Intel because this is going to be the obvious example here. You come to Intel, yesterday's 51 resistance, that's the spot I'm looking for. The lower high is the first thing that comes in. It's a failed break of the pre-market high, which if that happens and I'm looking bearish under 51, the first chance is usually the pop, either in the prior support low or the volume weighted average price. Today it's a volume weighted average price. It went, filled in the gap to target, great, I got out. I'm looking for re-entry, doesn't give VWAP, so I missed this trade. Now here's where, when I miss this trade because it doesn't go into VWAP, I end up taking this breakdown, which is not typically something I'll do. Don't get me wrong, like it can fall apart all over itself. That trade in and of itself isn't the end of the world. Like I'm taking the breakdown, I'm giving myself an out. It's fine, because if it does fall apart, I'm probably not complaining about it. But it's what it costs you in terms of a normal execution. And my normal plan of action is to simply wait for the topping tail candle and then just get it on the other end. Instead of trying to get this breakdown, it's hilarious in that usually how I'd be playing this is let this happen and then just get in somewhere here, or even just get in at the same price I had before after the topping tail candle. And then once you're off schedule or off plan, out of your lane or whatever it might be, well then suddenly I'm not taking this breakdown. It's like, well, if you like the breakdown, well, this is as good a breakdown, if not better, because it's through the low of the day. And then I'm also missing that. I'm like, oh, great. So now I took a breakdown that didn't work, didn't do the buy the rip or the short the pop setup. So I've done the one that didn't work, didn't do my usual, which did work. Then I don't do the thing that was the mistake before, and it does work out. So now you're hyper frustrated because this downward trend is going and I'm not catching any piece of it. So I then don't take either one of the short the pop situations. It's like one little step out of your bounds, out of your lane, and suddenly I'm missing every short setup. And that's typically not how it would go. I'm not usually that dude who Intel does this off VWAP and trends down all day, and I only had one short on it, and I couldn't even find my way into one when it just kept falling all over itself. And that's what it comes down to. It can be frustrating when you have a situation where, okay, all of the things that you like the most that you got into didn't work, but I can't offset it with the one that should have been the best because I bungled it. So it's a situation where for myself, it's going to be tough for me to be green on a day like this because Intel can make up for usually, the IBIT didn't work and NVIDIA didn't work, and usually I'd have Intel just make up for two of those and then some, because I think if you're being reasonable about it, I think if you can have what you consider a good trade to cover up two bad ones. I hear the term, I saw it this morning, someone saying they had their, they hit their daily goal or whatever it might be. So, a good rule of thumb, if I'm putting it in those terms, is if you happen to have a goal, you never know what the market's going to give you, so I'm not really about the daily goals. It's a weird thing in prop trading. Most prop traders don't have one. But if you keep your losses okay, well, a stock that I'm down on, it's half the daily goal, a third of the daily, whatever that might be, just as long as it's not, oh no, I'm losing 2-3x of my daily goal. That could be a bit of a problem. But the bigger issue, of course, is doing other things. If you're in your head saying, oh, that's not that big of a loss, but it's 2-3x your daily goal, that's a problem. But also, I have to recognize that, hey, because of that first trade on Intel, I'm up on Intel today because of that first trade. But it has to be a fail. I know you're this being it's nice of you, Shree, but I know it's a fail because I missed so many opportunities. Because I jumped from one lane, which was the short the pops, to taking a breakdown trade. And then when that didn't work and I missed the short the pop, I then jumped back to saying, well, I don't want the breakdown trade. Then that trade did work, the flat bottom break. And by that point, I'm like, okay, well, now I'm switching again and I'm not taking the short the pop. You just start getting, you start to overanalyze things. And it's an easy way to sort of get out of the flow as a trader. Like, stick to what usually works best for you. And if that means, you know, I wait for this little short to pop and this flush happens and I never get that trade there, then I got to be able to live with it. Just sort of stick with the A to A plus setups if you can. And it does require sometimes getting a little bit of, you might get a little bit of FOMO, because I have to think of it this way. If we fall apart here and this breakdown looks like this, I have to be willing to live with that, okay, fine, I missed that trade when it happens, to know that my bread and butter is usually taking these ones. Like, that's just how I roll. So I know what usually pays the bills, and you've got to try to stick to that, because ultimately, like, your strategy is everything. You don't get to be a consistent trader without first developing something that gives you a positive expectancy. And then your job is to do enough of that and make enough on it so that when you are inevitably wrong, you are making more on your positive expectancy trades than you are losing, right? So you follow your plan enough so that you can do that. And then once you're consistent enough, you can then start worrying about things like scaling, right? Like, it's tried and true. I've never really seen traders do well without some semblance of that pattern, but it does first require you to stick to your plan of action. There's lots of ways that a trend can work. There's lots of ways that you can set up stops on a breakout. There's lots of ways that you can put targets out. And even on the same stock, there could be 4 or 5 different ways that you're trading it that could work out in a given day. But you have to stick to the one that works for you, because jumping back and forth is a good way to get messed up, like I did today on Intel. So good luck, everybody. I'm going to go have some rice and chicken, which I've been told, like, there is chicken in here, but like it's like a little vegetable, bunch of vegetables. There's like chicken somewhere in there. Apparently the portion might not be that big, but it does look tasty. So we got the Thai chicken going on with a little bit of rice, little vegetables in here. It looks pretty solid. I'll let you guys know how it is. Good luck.
The food does look good, Neil. It's the quantity that I have a bit of an issue with today, being a hungry boy. No, the quantity. I want
You're
more.
You're going to be coming in here with Pizza Nova and a Spanish.
Pizza Nova.
I promise you. Neil's going to be, he's like, yeah, no, we're going to go hit some Pizza Nova there.
He's going to get pineapple on that bad boy, too. You know it. He's going to come back reeking of cheese and pineapple. That would be the day that I buy a lottery ticket immediately, because the world would be turning on its head. He's coming in hot. He's going to give the finger, the Matumbo. Yeah, your boy Neil's not going to be eating pineapple pizza willingly. He does. He's a good sport, so if he loses a bet, he's going to do it. We all saw that.
I think it complements the ham, though. Like, the ham is key, right? Like, you got to get the ham, make sure the ham's properly cooked.
Booger check. I got no boogers, man. Get out of here, man. Or Alpha check. Making me worried over here.
Yeah, we don't.
FGL. Let's check out FGL. I heard you guys yelling about this earlier. What is this thing? Why is it moving like this? Hold on, Joey. It's moving crazy. It's done 158,000 shares, guys. It's up 33%. What am I supposed to do with this? Hold on. We're going to bring it in. We're going to have a look at how absurd it is. Shout out to the Fluffsters. Just eat your eggs. Just shut up and eat your eggs, Sharif. All right, I'm sorry, Fluffy, man. Guys, what am I supposed to do with this? It's not even able to print candles. Yeah, this is not for me at all, unless I'm seeing something different. FGL Founder Group. This looks like an IPO. No, it's not an IPO at all, excuse me. It's been trading for a while. Let me just look at the daily. Yeah, this is not an IPO. Pardon me. I misspoke. Guys, it's not doing anything. It's done 158,000 shares of volume. I believe it's down halted here. It's halted at 1323. So right around here. It's really not for me. It's just hard to trade something that illiquid, but thank you for that. I did see it in the chat. Someone did mention it before. So. TT Mass saying CNET. Let's have a look at CNET. Who still uses CNET for like information on tech? Because I feel like some of their reporters are still pretty good. Just for tech-based stuff. Yeah, let me know if you guys are still on that. I remember I used to watch. They had a TV channel back in the day on satellite That's how long ago this was. And it was actually a good one. It was like all computer stuff and super tech nerdy. You remember that? Like you could download shareware, Fabian, off CNET. Yeah, it got a little sketchy. I do agree, but there was a lot of good that came out of that. There's a lot of other sources he's saying. Yeah, and I kind of agree with that. There's just a bunch. In any event, yeah, I do like this pattern here on CNET. My man Big Spile would definitely like this because he's a big fan, Joey, of rounded bottoms.
Oh.
And this is one hell of a rounded bottom over here. Trying to work its way back above that dollar. Not quite having that opportunity yet. But keep your eye on CNET, man. This is up 35 and change and nothing to sneeze at. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off Playboy because Playboy is not doing much. We're going to throw in CNET. And we're going to see if we can execute if it's warranted on this one. I also want to go over PHIO because I see you guys talking about that. It's possibly breaking trend here, and if it is, we're gonna look at it. So let's look at PHIO for the crew. So this is what I was looking at, Joey. Joey, look at this. Okay. I want to show you this.
Okay.
So look at that trend line coming in. Area reject through topping tail, and it's doing it again. See, you know what I mean? Like, and so this is why I don't get lured in once it breaches. I insist on a closing print for exactly that reason.
Above the
trend line.
Big time.
You know, your boy Neil's all about that life, right? He loves the trend line break. I'm starting to really get behind that thinking and that style as well. And PHIO is just not showing me what I need to see. Now, what if it does? If it gets above this 140 area on a closing basis, I feel it would have broken trend, and I'll get into it. But for the moment, I still feel that the sellers are in control. We keep putting in lower highs, local area highs. I'm not talking about prior bar high. It's obviously breached prior bar high, but is having trouble taking out this trend line. So I'm very much alive to PHIO, but I just don't feel that it is right at the moment. Quickly here, some of the trades. Let's take a look at that. Your boy Nomura is working back into 3. We've got 97s. We built the position in on this one, so I'm looking for a breach of 3. Otherwise, I'm not interested in taking prints. ASTI, what do we got on here? We got 88s on ASTI showing me 91s. I'm looking for a move above 8. It had a good hold of VWAP, but we're still putting in lower highs. So I am concerned here about the ASTI trade. And then QNCX, I've built the position now, and it is for the moment finding support at 33, and that's the area we earmarked. We said $0.33 area support. We've got that now, but now I'm looking for the move back up, and we're not getting anything move back up. In fact, we've got 1, 2, 3. Now this is the 4th candle in a row on the 5-minute chart with lower high. So I need to see a trend change here, man. Give me a prior bar high breach, and we're not getting that. I still have a DCA here into 32. It's still unprinted. It loses 30. I'm out. QNCX. Sub $1, but up 155%, Joey.
All right, man. I'm going to take a look at something. Ooh, okay.
Ooh, baby, I love your way.
All right, so we get, yeah, that's all right, man. Keep singing it, baby. We hit the karaoke machine, man. Yeah, we know your neck of the woods we got a lot of those over there.
Bro, I'm telling you, you will have the time of your life.
Yeah,
they can do. Koreans love.
See, the thing
love
is, when I go there, I don't try to be good because I know I'm not good. So
neither am I. I'm trash.
So,
I know I'm trash.
It's more or less like get the mic away from this guy. All right, here it is, right? So we take the majority of our position off. We're slowly starting to curl over, but what we're going to do is look at some spots. So I'm holding on to approximately 20% of my remaining just to see what happens, right? So we did lock out some. We didn't run into the below 13 into that 1285 mark that we were looking for.
My man.
Hold on. No, we're not doing that right now. I'm going over SPY. And then we can look at it.
You're going over SPY when Big Spile's here?
Yeah, it's fine.
Crazy.
All right, 695. I think it's risky just due to where we're currently sitting at. It's at the money. Yeah, that's a tough play, right? It expires next week, so keep an eye out on that. Just be cautious of what's going on. All right, here it is. Are we ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Big smile verified. I don't see any blue check mark by your sign, your name.
Oh, he's automatically verified wherever he goes.
All right, let me read this first.
He's such a liability, bro. He's such a liability. Bad Bunny, all I see is Bad Bunny there, man.
Yeah, I'll read the second half. The first half we're not going to read out loud.
No.
LJS got back from being a backup dancer for Bad Bunny. Bueno trabajo. All right, good job, he says. Thank you. Timu Pupo. Thank you. I much appreciate it, man. We're not going to read the first half there, obviously. But, hey, man, if I was a backup dancer for my boy,
He's getting paid. You be getting paid.
You know what that means, my boy? All right, but yeah, aside from that, guys, thank you very much. Good seeing you in the chat. Big smile, man. I hope everything is going good for you. I'm sure you like the blood in the streets that we've seen in the past couple of days. But it's time for our friend Frederick Von Yummy Pants, also a.k.a. Danny Boy. All right? So on the first, this is a serious one though. I think. All right. So on the first week of January, I picked up Dow, HUN, and CC because they are all great-looking long-term charts with obvious upturns taking place. However, CC reports soon, and it may be time to let it go. Thoughts on CC? Well, we can take a look at CC. We can take a look at CC. Morse Co. I'm not familiar with this one. Steady uptrend. I mean, what we got going on with the street, I wouldn't go against what you got going on. Like, this is a steady breakout, not going against that. As simple as it is, continuously rock and roll, go with the flow. And I think that's what the majority of individuals are doing right now, is just going with the flow. Bottom at 15, you're up 20% from that mark right there. So not too bad of a look, guys, whatsoever. We got on CC, 33% more or less. So.
All right, we're going to go to Dara in a second, Joey, but I want to mention that ASTI did break above 8. It got into 818, and we took a whole bunch of prints there. I think we have 780 on. Watch out for the flat top break, though, guys. It's not an ascending wedge, but there's an obvious seller at 20 pennies. It's more like a 10 penny flat top, but the wicks do work its way up into that 20 penny level. So be alive to ASTI. It's an obvious range. Here it is again into 18s. There it goes into 23, 24. We get the breakout. We've got 77s on. The spread is opening up into 24 pennies. Watch out. This is dangerous here. Take some beak wetters as the price action develops here, because ASTI, and it gets into that high end of the range, the spread opens up crazy as the liquidity dries up. So be careful with this one, but we're doing it live. We're looking for a high day break, 824 high.
Tesla broke out heavy.
Take a look here at this market. Nice bounce from the lows. I do want to mention we are having some comments from Fed's Hammock. This began at 12 p.m. I'm just seeing a summary of the comments, so I do want to go over them because there are some things of note. I think biggest thing here is she's still being quite hawkish, which isn't a change for her. She's generally been pretty hawkish, but she's saying that the Fed's rate policy could be on hold for, quote, quite some time. Inflation is still too high and that tariff issues are still in play. She also thinks there's a risk that inflation could stick at 3% this year and that it needs to come down. What's worth noting as well is that Hammock is actually a voting member this year. So these comments coming from Hammock could actually play a role in rate decisions given her voting status for 2026. Back to you.
Yeah, Joey, what are you looking at, brother?
Good stuff, yeah. Market, someone was telling me, hey, man, market might find a little bit of a curl around. That has been the case so far. Running into that $52 mark, starting to come back in a little bit. Sharif was like, Joe, man, look at Tesla right at the volume-weighted average price, and now we're experiencing a breakout in this name. So Tesla most definitely in play over the past 4 sessions. Looks like we're on a 4-day green streak. Right off of this 398 mark. Oh, man, why didn't I see that? Go do a little bit more DD and go over some of these mag names. But I mentioned I'm just avoiding the tech trade right now, Espresso. So shout out to that. Nice move, nice breakout there in Tesla volume starting to pick up as well. You can see that breakout candle, boom, straight to the top side. So a nice little move there. Let's see, CRM, Salesforce putting in a session as well too, Sharif. Not too bad of a look off of these lows.
Oh, it recovered. It was decidedly negative in the pre-market. Nice recovery there.
Nice recovery by Benioff and company. Let's see what my boy CrowdStrike is up to. Let's see how we're doing. Where are you? Where are you? Shout out to CoreWeave, sorry for that, but shout out Blink-182 for those who are like, where are you? All right, anyways, moving on, not much going on CoreWeave, guys. I can't find CrowdStrike. It's usually typically at the lower end, but there it is. Bang, CrowdStrike. Are you, yes. Let's go, man. With that being said, a nice little bounce off of those 415 there on CrowdStrike. Let's see what we got going on here with our visualizer here. See how the chat is doing. I'll tell you, I'll give it to, hey, listen, the chat gives it to me straight. I'm going to give it to them as clear as I possibly can, man. 8th place, not bad. All right, not bad here. You guys were second last for quite some time. Ramin falling in the ranks as well. Down 6% there. Your boy down 1.39%. Sharif and I just been leapfrogging each other here in that 3rd and 4th slot right there. Sean falling a spot as well too, guys. But I did have 2 of my names. We had JP Morgan slightly green this morning, right? But we're getting a small pullback in Walmart, but a nice recovery here in CrowdStrike. We're at a low of around 15 to 20%. So Adara still cooking up, all three of her names now. Boeing continuing to the top side. Starbucks up a staggering 10%. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, there you go, bang. It's a long game, that's for sure. Oracle 20%. Obi's still holding on to that top about 23.5%. All three of his names. Two of them being short, with one of them being long. So good work there, Obi.
All right, would love your thoughts on app. Absolutely. Shout out to, I'm just going to say your name properly here, Heart Media. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat. I'm just waiting for this trade to resolve here. QNCX is the one I'm focusing on. That's that small cap gapper. And there it goes in the 35. We sized up here, guys. We've added into this position. Let's see if it can break out above 35.44. That is the high of the day at the moment. I'm still holding ASTI. I'm still holding NMRA, but I'm focusing here at the moment on ASTI because 35 pennies has been a hard level to breach. Let's go ahead and set up at 36 on the dot. So we'll set up there, but yeah, again, moving into 35 and again, selling at 35. No continuation, sadly, despite the fact that we were above it momentarily on that 11:55 candle. So we'll keep an eye out on that. I see JZXN Bovin is my biggest loser on the day, and I'm prohibited now from trading it, not like by the company, but by myself, because it has been no good to me. But let's take a look here at app. One that I typically look at all that much, but we'll have a quick look. I'm assuming you're asking from a daily as opposed to an intraday, because it's kind of, not really doing a whole lot. What I didn't like about this, and I remember looking at this before, that 735 double top, and then it lost the neckline at 525. And then it really lost it at 5, right? It bled its own blood quite aggressively. All the way down into 375, that bottoming tail candle on the 5th of February. It's not even bottoming tail. Recovering nicely. What I'd look for, number one, that 500 is super important. Reason is $500 psychological resistance and or support, and now you're getting the 200 SMA and the 200 EMA amalgamating at that $500 area. You're gonna have to reclaim the 200 from the south side, right? So let's look, it's number one, can it do that? Number two, is there gonna be more resistance at 525? Don't forget the bag holders, right, that are going to be holding it from that area and want to get the hell out. As well as the shorts, they're going to see the same thing as well. And you have a base here at 525 from the 20th of January to when it started bleeding its own blood on the 30th. So defended it for a period of 10 days. On a closing basis, it did wick below it. But that is my kind of look there with respect to app. I'd like to see it reclaim 500 above the 200 SMA, above the 200 EMA, which are almost at the exact same price. But I do like that bounce off, what was the low of this candle here? 360. 360. It looks like more like a 375 hold. And that 375 was an area of important resistance going back. Look at how many days from May, mid-May of 2025 till all the way, I want to say, when it really claimed it, to the end of July. So that 375 could be an interesting shelf area. Now, you did wick below it, but you were quickly retraced above it. So I like that part of it. I'm not liking the fact that it's below the 200 and the fact that it lost the neckline. But you can always account for that, of course, using strategic stop placement and whatnot. Just to continue on here, Joey. Sorry, I've been talking for a while. QNCX into the high. Here we go. It looks like there's aggressive buying. Let's now just wet the beak here. Oops. All right. There we go. Looking for a 36 print here on QNCX. Good look, good look. How's that other one trade doing? Oh, that's right. It's at the high of the day. ASTI, get it, baby. Into 830. It's an 835, showing 31s, excuse me. Let's go ahead up. Set up at 37. There's 32. There's 35. Let's see if we can get a bit more here. Going to set up at 45. Looking for a move above the high of the day. 835. Showing me 35s right now. Let's go, ASTI. Great looking bull flag pattern. Now it is taking out the high. And there goes QNCX, Joseph. Taking out all my prints. It is the inverse of bleeding your own blood.
Oh. Bloodbath.
Yes, there it goes into the high. It's up 186%. Go QNCX, 39.06 high. We're gonna set up here above 39. So we're gonna go 41. Let's see if we can take out that area top. It is a little ambitious, but I'm gonna do it anyway. What do you got, Joey?
Do it, man. Do it.
Doing it well. Oh, that's LL, man.
Yeah, LL,
oh,
man.
no.
All right, IBKR, how you do? How you doing? How you doing? Oh, Sharif, almost all-time highs on A. I touched it today, up to 78 smackers right there on Interactive Broker. I know, man. crazy. All the options activity coming straight from your boy here, 129% from those April lows. A nice little grind higher there in IBKR. There was news as well too. They're teaming up with Coinbase. I believe Adara was bringing it. Told us that, yeah.
For crypto?
Yeah, for crypto, I believe that is.
You know that we can't trade crypto. You and I still were blocked.
I know.
Why is that? Why can we see all the data?
They best,
you can see
bro.
the level 2,
good
the
thing.
time and sales, everything but punching, Joe.
Everything. Hey, man.
Someone make it make
Don't
sense,
worry, man. The market's going to be what's it called? It's going to be nonstop, anyways, if it isn't already. All right, guys. We have gone absolutely nowhere on the Qs in 4 months, literally a horizontal line. PS, the rocks up front, and Sherborne is the GOAT for karaoke. You know, man, shout out to our guy Adam James abroad, my friend. He knows the city. He knows everywhere he goes. So, yeah,
He's
go
a
check
vibe, that guy, bro.
Yeah, he is. Go check out his thing, man. There's a lot of traveling going on there. I like him when he's climbing up. I was making fun of him. He's climbing up this mountain and he's trying to catch a ride. I'm like, walk your lazy bum up that mountain, my friend. And what are you trying to hail a ride, man? Get those steps in, brother. No, all fun and games. But yeah. All right, guys, let's see what else we got going on. A slow curl over here in Oscar. We did take out the majority of our position right there at 318. It looked like we were going to curl back over, but we're starting to get somewhat of a rebound. So break even is going to be our out on that one if it does come back up to 1349. Going across the board, I don't want to just start jumping around as Neil was talking about lane switching this morning, and we don't want to be switching lanes over here. We want to stick with what has been working for us. Even though they're more of a slow grind, there might be a potential continuation to the downside here in silver. But what I've noticed with these with the commodities is whatever direction they are trading in, as simplistic as it may sound, just go with the flow and don't fight it. It's a nice steady recovery. We have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 35 minutes of just steady up and to the right here on silver. So all day grinding to the downside, recovered in the span of a half an hour on silver. The market slowly starting to curl back over once again as well too, guys. So establishing a lower high on that front. Keep an eye on this. You want to draw your basic trend lines. As soon as that 52 mark breaks, get out of dodge. But this is what I'm talking about in silver. Just go with the flow. If it's going to just slowly start to recover, you just want to participate on that front. Is this going to be an ad opportunity? I really want to focus and just get into the nitty-gritty and the detail here on Oscar. This is the 10-minute time frame. What I'll do is give myself a little bit more detail on the 5 minute to say, hey, Joe, is this an ad opportunity for that move to the downside? And you can see right here, I think this is a crucial point. 1326. We failed to establish a break of that 1332 mark, so a lower high being formed right there. And if you have the ability to break 1317, then maybe we can add and use this as our out. Considering that I'm adding, what's going to happen to my average, it's going to drop, obviously. And with that being said, it's going to tighten my stop. But if we are going to slowly start to curl over once again, then I like our chances. Hims putting in a new low of the day. It's unfortunate that we didn't hold on to that one, but it is what it is. We got a nice little move on it. We were red on the day with silver, and then we hopped over to Hims looking for the short, in which we were looking for yesterday, and fortunate enough to catch that move. Multiple touches, and then you can see with each pullback, you're slowly starting to establish a lower high, and sure enough, you eventually breach it to the downside, and then now you are establishing a new low of the day. A nice bounce. Oh, look at that on the tape there. A big clean flush to the tape and a rebound. So that was about 5 or 6 cents right there. Okay, you know what, man? I got to put my money where my mouth is here, Sharif, on Oscar Health. I think I'm going to add a little bit here, brother.
Sounds good, brother. There you go. There you go. We're going to wish you multiple storms of prints.
Appreciate
you, my man. All right, guys. Taking out a little bit more out here on QNCX as this bar is engulfed by the prior bar. So we have a couple of more outs, but now we're going to move up to break even. So we go up into 32. So 31.5 for those who are looking, because you can do that with these ones because, well, they're south of $1. So they have 4 decimal places that you can post at. Okay? But ASTI is him right now. There it goes into the high of the day. It's into 850. We just went the beak there at 45s. Good move up here. ASTI about 30% in the Ville of Green. There it is, right into 30. Let's see if we can take out the $0.50. It is the high of the day right now, 850 on the dot. It hasn't done too much in the way of volume, which has contributed to the wider than normal spread we typically see on these small cap gappers, but it's really tightened up here. I've seen it as wide as 30, 40 pennies, especially when it got into that area high. At the time, it was about 810, 820, but it's since tightened up. Look at that, 45 on the bid, 44 on the ask, 43 on the bid. It's a 1 penny spread. Probably doesn't stay that way for that long, but it's looking good here. A lot more tradable. And as you look at the volume on this, the volume has started coming in. It's not at the highest point it's been all day, but it's better than this sort of chasm that we had midday where, you know, these prints were doing what, 30,000, 44,000, 25,000 shares a pop. Now we're doing Ds. We're doing about 94, about 75 over here. So not the greatest, but definitely tradable. So QNCX and NMRA are the ones that I'm focusing on. And I'm being stubborn on NMRA because I'm seeing these higher lows for the most part with that seller, that staunchy, convicted seller at $3. Not exactly at 3.99s here, 3 here. Sometimes it's 98 that we're at right now, but most of the time it is 99 and 3 that we're seeing a lot of selling at and big selling. So, you know, the higher lows can only give me one piece of the picture here in terms of prediction. I'm going to take that and I'm gonna stay in the trade for a breach of that 3. That's my bias there. We'll see how it ends up doing. Let's see what the super we got. Shout out to the man, SP Williams 48. He's dropping 5 in the chat. We're going to thank him for that. Sharif, SKTL, not a big deal. Which way do you think it will gap? Up or down? Consolidating now. Let's take a look. So SKTL. Ticker. Allow me 1 sec. Okay, TL. STKL, sorry. STKL. Pardon me, guys. STKL. All right, what a gap up the last couple of days, but what a tight range. So look at that. Look at that closing print on the 5th. The close, cash buyout. Neil knows about this because he's a buyout king. Okay, so it's a cash buyout. That's why we gapped up like this. So this is what we call on the floor basically a buyout trade. And it's a completely different technique and methodology to trading these ranges. Remember, oh, you weren't around Greg days, were you?
I was not,
Floor
no.
manager, yeah. If you traded buyouts, you automatically got in Greg's good books. Yeah, he wanted to see that because he made good money on trading buyouts as well. A lot of the floor did. So it's a completely different beast. So I'm going to give you a very, very basic way of trading these buyouts. You sit heavy on the bid or the ask, and you're looking at taking 1 or 2 pennies with big size. That's basically the name of the game there. And you're trying to gauge which way it's going to trade based upon, you know, the technicals. You see big buying at certain areas, big selling. So by way of example, I'd sit here at, say, just giving you any random number, 640. I put 10,000 shares. I'm in 10, I'm in 15,000 shares at 640. And I'm looking at wetting the beak at 641. Couple of ways to make money. Obviously, the price accretion. You make money on that 1 penny move. But also, you're probably also going on an inverse gateway. So you're getting paid to add liquidity. So you make money a couple of ways there. Obviously, it's a little bit more nuanced. So if you're interested in buyout trading, you got to go and do your deep dive. But that's basically the name of the game. Now, but your question was, which way does it fold? Does it gap down or gap up? Hard for me to answer that question because it is a buyout and it's not really, you know, subject to the same norms that we get with these, with the price dynamics of normal stocks that are trading on fundamentals and technicals. So I can't answer that question. I hate to kind of leave you in limbo. If I had to guess, it probably fills the gap a little bit to the downside, but you never really know. I have to pause here because QNCX is all sorts of crazy, and there it goes again. Joseph Options, we're going to take that beak wetter. That is a new high day, 40.75. What do we got on this? We got 32s. dropping back down into 38s. I'm going to go ahead and wait a little bit higher. We're going to go to 45s now. So by definition, that will be a high of day break. So QNCX sub $1, but treating me well on the day. Yeah, so I hate to sorry leave you, P. Williams. I think maybe fills the gap a little bit here. Maybe down into 6. I don't know. I don't even want to give you a pronouncement on this because I really don't have a good understanding of, you know, the gap fills on these buyouts. So all I can really tell you is, you know, just how we were taught to trade it on the floor. It's basically, you know, a structured trade. You're sitting on the bid, sitting on the ask, and you're looking at a get out, and then you're adding liquidity into the market. You're getting paid by the gateway, by the market makers, as well as making a price, you know, move 1-2 pennies, Joe.
Yeah, yeah, Adam. I mean, the West Coast typically go to Baja, you know, and then Puerto Vallarta. I would love to go there.
They always say every time. Like when I went to
Baja,
Cabo in
Baja,
November, it's
Puerta.
almost everybody's from California.
Yeah. And then when you
exactly
go over
right.
to the East Coast, you got the Cancun, you got people come from from Calgary.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'll say something, man. I love my Canadian brothers, but people from Calgary complain a lot, man. I don't know what's up with that. Is that a Calgary thing? Fabian, was that your laugh? I don't know. That was crazy, man. Yeah, this one guy just wouldn't stop complaining like all the time. I'm like,
why?
bro, I don't know, man. I'm just like,
Complaining
hey, man.
about?
Well, his flight was delayed,
Oh, that I can
and you
sympathize
know what
with.
I mean? It's just like, hey, man, just chill out. Have a nice wobbly pop. Chill out a little bit. And
You know what aggravates me? When you get up like at 6 in the morning because they're going to pick you up at the hotel at 7:30, and you're like, all right, sick, I'm going to be home by 2 o'clock. You know, it's only a few-hour flight. And then your flight doesn't leave till like 4 o'clock that day. It's just infuriating, but you're gonna get some money back.
Yeah, that sucks.
The saving grace.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't know what it is. I must have a horseshoe. I'm not gonna finish that sentence, but like, like, dude, I've never had any. Okay, aside from the Air Canada thing, I've had pretty good luck with flights and stuff, man. I've never had one really delayed. Really, that like couple minutes, nothing substantial. Other than when I had to plane, trains, and automobiles back from Chicago. That was fun though. That was fun.
Intense.
Yeah, that was fun, man. I was exhausted. Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, is this our ad opportunity right back into these markets? Sorry for talking a book on the same one name here, but this is what we got going on. We've been holding on to these things. You've noticed as of late, I just stick to a couple of names, stay in them longer. If we continuously hold this trend, then I think it's going to be a good quality ad opportunity for an additional leg lower, and we're continuously flushing, hitting that bid clean. So I have to take this attempt. It's going to drastically change my average price, but why not, man? It's either we add a little bit more fuel to this fire or we get stopped out break even. That's the worst case scenario. We've already figured out what the situation may be. Let's see if we can add a little bit more. What's my average down? Okay, so we don't have too much room, right? Like to 26, and then we're out to break even because we're not going to allow a loss on this trade. So let's go. Let's get this breakdown here on Oscar Health. I added 66% more of what I currently have right now. So lucky Joe, but now he's talking to you the ends it is. But now, knock on wood. Yeah, we're going to knock on wood with that one. But yeah, let's go. Let's see if we can get this breakdown here in Oscar. Once again, the market's slowly starting to curl over. You can see these trend lines most definitely coming into play. You're getting a stall right at the volume-weighted average price here in SLV. Let's take a look at Tesla. TSLA, what are you up to? Where am I here now? Let's pull up Tesla. Is that breakout being sustained? Or is it not? I think this is a little bit of a pullback here, a retest of some of these support levels. Let's see if we can get this the volume to step back in. Like, look at it stair step down. The market is most definitely a quiet one today, right? We've seen that we've been trading within a 70-cent range here, approximately 90-cent range in the TQQQ. It's not something that we typically see, right? But we had some big volatile days. The big boys have done reporting their earnings. Now it's just like, hey, what direction are we going to actually head in? So not much of it. Space I gave myself on Oscar Health, but it is what it is. Let's see if we can get this breakdown once again. Adair, what do you have for us?
For one, keep an eye on these charging plays like BLNK and CHPT. Department of Transportation in the U.S. coming out with this press release here basically saying that the administration has a new proposal to expand a Buy America public interest waiver for EV chargers. So again, looks like the administration is proposing to expand a Buy America public interest waiver for EV chargers. I want to talk as well here about the Fed. Fed's hammock still talking, saying that it's important to get to 2% inflation before changing rates again. So more hawkishness coming here from Fed's hammock. Back to you.
Here we go, guys. QNCX is really, really going. I think it was Yannick I forget who mentioned this in the chat, but shout out to you. 43.61 high. We just took it out there at 42. This one's really going. I feel this one may have a pullback. I want to say between 37 to 35, 37.5 to 35. 35 is the breakout area. The 37.5 is a 10 EMA on the 5, but this is very, very strong, very aggressive. We could see 50 pennies sooner than you may think. It's up 232%. So even though it is sub $1, it's going to be higher up on the order condescendi on your scanner. So that makes it, in a lot of people's purview. Just before we get to that super assassino, I want to mention to everybody here that ASTI, ASTI, remember that we were talking about that breakout range between 810 to 820? It's just weaseled back, bless you, Fabian, into that 820 area, which is now the 10 EMA on the 5. So this might be an ad here. I'm getting in small share size, and I'm not giving it that much room, okay? So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna do it live. Let's go down like that, and we're gonna give it to that. And what do we got? We got 23s. Okay, so we're gonna wait up here for a little bit higher. Let's see if we can get up into that level, and we'll see what ASTI has to offer. Looking for a retest of that breakout level now to see if it's gonna act as support, obviously former resistance. We got Lettuce Go TV, $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate the team for all you do. Can you please look at apps? I have February 20th, 450 calls at 25 pennies. That is your world, Joseph.
Dude, look what I'm running into right here. So I'm trying to get this line out of here, but then I got to bring my mouse over to this screen. I tried deleting my layout yesterday, and it's just like, hey, you kept saying you can't delete default, can't delete default. So I got to talk to Neil or something like that.
Did you try to do it from the directory? Like how it saves your layout in the directory and in the program folder?
Oh, okay. On the actual computer.
Yeah. You can delete the layout.
Okay,
there,
not on
kind of
not on Pro itself.
We'll do it after.
Yeah, we'll do it after. All right, yeah, let's take a look. I appreciate the team for all you guys do. Says Lettuce Go. All right, let's go. Lettuce had a little bit of that the other day. For all you do, can you please look at apps? I have February 20th, 450 calls at a quarter. We like a quarter. APPS. Sorry, quarter. We like a quarter. Digital Turbine. These were worth a quarter. Oh, okay, let's pull up. Hold on, let's actually get up the actual chain. Let's see more detail in this. February 24th, $4.50. Is that am I even in the right thing? Why is that saying it's like multiple dollars? I think you might be all right, my friend. It's looking pretty good for you if you ask me. I haven't even really looked at the underlying. You have the 4.5 at a quarter. Wow, okay, yeah. I mean, here, there it is. We have no idea how many you have. Let's pull up the advanced chart. And then we'll see what we got going on. Go Oscar Health on the ad. Obviously, big-time liquidity issues here. That's going to be a massive thing. But you're at the lower end, right? There's your quarter. And this is just basic stuff. Like, ask yourself this. You're up 81% on those contracts. How many do you have? They expire in a couple of weeks. You know what? Neil, myself, Sharif, Sean will say that you never go broke taking profit.
Bang.
And that's what we're about to do here,
Get
Sharif.
it, Joey.
So there it is, 30, 40%, lock it in. The rest, leave it for a little bit of a runner as you get. If you happen to appreciate more, you lock some more up or break it out into third tranches, 30% here, 33% at your next target, and then the final out at a specific target. So write your game plan down, think what you want to do with it, and then rock and roll with that, guys. So there it goes, a nice little move to the downside. It may not seem like much, but we had that reload as Oscar Health is really starting to head to the downside. A nice little move right there off of that. I wish I had this one, so we'll hit this here for it. Do you have the I'm reloaded?
No, that's
No, you don't? That's
yeah,
Kakina, man. All right, so, no. Oh my days, that was really close. Okay. So yeah, let's take a little bit more off here, guys. I'm gonna remove half of it, and you're gonna see my average. Actually, I'm not. I'm gonna take a little bit less than that, and then you're gonna see my average really start to cool down. Ooh, no. It's not what we want. And there we go. Okay, we catch that fill. A nice little aggressive move to the downside. I'm sitting on approximately 45% of the remaining position, a little bit more, maybe 55% right there, guys. A nice move on Oscar Health to the downside. And you can see my average kind of be lifted there as well, guys.
Bovin, you were asking about FGL.
I'll go lower, sorry.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, I'm done. Yeah, I'm done.
You were asking about FGL. So apparently there are no active broad IPO style lockups for FG. However, 70% of the company is owned by Fidelity National Financial. Okay, so they have, you know, the majority of the shares there. There was also a reverse split on the 10th today. That's why we're doing this whole thing. It was 100 for 1. Looking for insider lockup expiration countdowns, not currently in the headlines. However, they recently issued Class B shares to insiders. They often carry different voting rights and lockup expirations as well. So nothing that I'm seeing outright to answer your question, Bhavin, but you know, it does stink a little bit. Yeah, okay, so we got all the questions there. I'm seeing everybody talk about CCCX. CCCX. What do we got over here? This is a good look. Shout out to Casey, shout out to Bhavin, both of them calling this out. CCCX, it's looking good. But by the way, guys, my ASTI is paying over here. We got a bunch of prints. Next, beak wetter, we're looking for 43. So it was a good test of that breakout level. And now acting as support as opposed to resistance. That's a daily on CCCX. Let's flip to the 5. Oh my days. What are you doing over there, bro? Is that even real?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Hold on, man.
Joey, killing me, bro. What a DJ. All right, CCCX. I can't even concentrate now,
I know,
man.
We got us distracted.
What's going on over there?
What's going on over there?
All right, 1280 high. This looks good, guys. This is a bull flag continuation. Looks like it certainly had support in and around 12. That $12 level now is the volume weighted average price. So you got the double whammy there. You get the price action, already proven support level, and now you're getting VWAP. So it's going to be on more people's purviews. The volume on CCCX, 4.53 million on a $12.75 name at around 10 to 1. It's not the best. It's not too bad. We're going to keep it on the side chart. I'm taking off. Who am I taking off here? Wolf. Even though Wolf hasn't been bad, we're going to put CCCX because this one is more, you know, gapper inclined. And we'll see if we can execute on this one, but not a bad look. I really don't have any specific executions that I could say, you know, look for this level or that other than the $12 level. By the way, that $12 level is the low of the day. So all that price action that we were doing before, that was all before 9:30. That bull flag, by the way, started breaking out at 9, as you can see there. So that is the look. But there goes QNCX into another high a day. Now, we're done our trade on this one, so we have nothing to celebrate here, but it's a 46.03 high, dipping down now into mid-44s. This one is all gas, no brakes, guys, and it's up 237%. It's getting really extended away from the 10, but I think there's still more to do here in terms of upside for QNCX. I think we're probably a little bit close to 50 pennies now not to reach it. So be on the lookout here. This is a very strong, very directional. We're going to be looking out for this one, Joey.
All right, good stuff there, man. A nice little move to the downside in Oscar Health on this reload. Trendline hold, boom, we engage a little bit more, and a nice little bouncer. Time's a flying tree, almost at 1 o'clock hour. As we look, Gaurav, I don't know if you're trading this, but it looks like this signal, if we continuously hold up here, maybe this signal might come into play, but I felt that the volume on the lower time frame really just started to kick in. You have the SPY breaching downtrend as well, too. So let's see what we got going on here. If we cover more of this head into 1305, I think we can get a breach of the lower end of this wick, and at that point, we're going to get the break of $13. So it looks like we're kind of on that trajectory right now, and we want to stick with the flow. So happy with that ad, considering we missed out on silver.
Thanks for that, Neil.
We didn't hold on to HIMS long enough, so yeah, we're gonna be patient. What I did is I'm trying to eliminate some of the noise here as well. We're heading over to the 3-minute time frame. We can take a look at it from a 1, so you can get more detail within the ad. Boom, boom, right and at the right time. I would have been kicking myself if I didn't get involved on that. So keep an eye out on that there. Ooh, there you go. That's one right there. You want to show that?
Yeah, that's Neil's. So I want to show this for exactly what we were talking about, because remember we were explaining how to, you know, trade these buyouts. So look how tight this is. See where he's looking. So Neil, just so I can confirm with you, the green are buys, the purple are shorts, correct? Okay. So that's his profit taking right there. So he gets in, literally, look at this, 236, he's wetting the beak at 237. He gets in at 238, he's wetting the beak at 239. And then when you get a 2-3 penny move here, you've done really well. So this is the type of like tight sort of consolidation area range that the buyout trade entails. It's, you know, it's a slow mover. You could be sitting, you know, on the bid with several thousand shares, you know, for 20 minutes, half an hour before it moves up a penny. Or even if it moves up, you may not be in the order of priority to get filled, right? So there's obviously other ways you can kind of bamboozle that, the gateways that you choose, et cetera, et cetera. But this is a very, very viable way to trade. A lot of people do this. It's buyout trading. It's not exciting. We're not yelling. You're not getting breakouts, but it's profitable for a lot of people. So I really want to show this. This is the kind of range that we see on buyout trading, and Neil definitely does this as best as a lot of them. So make sure you know, you're kind of researching this type of trade before weaseling in. But thank you, Neil, for sending that. I kind of wanted to show that. Very, very good description there. Nobody. 2310, Sharif, I don't see you shorting the small caps or anything for that matter, even when you know the small caps go down rapidly at times. Why? Great question. Number one, you need locates, right? And that takes a bit of you know, it's a couple of step process. So by the time the price action develops, you go and get those locates, you know, the price isn't where it was anymore. So there is that side to it. Number two, I really do focus on the long only, but your question is very pointed and accurate. And that's why I want you to join us tomorrow at around 1 o'clock when Luis Barbado comes on here with Joey and I, and he's gonna be talking about how to short these small cap gappers. In fact, I'm pretty sure he's mostly short these small cap gappers, and really gonna get into a lot of the nuances with him about that. We kind of started off last week. He kind of showed us how to go in, look at a company, see if it has a shelf offering, especially when you get a big, huge price spike down, and you know what that can mean for the price action going into the you know, the rest of the day. So it's something that I definitely want to expand on. You know, I want to increase my my arsenal and have, you know, the ability to take these short. But for the moment, you know, I am long only these small caps. But great observation, and thank you for asking that question. Let's see what else everybody's saying. All right, above pre-market high, says Grunfeld, BJDX. BJDX. Let's have a look. BJ.
SLV.
Here it is, Joey. Okay, very light volume, brother, on this. This has done 135,000 shares. It's $3.50 at 5 to 1. So it's not tradable for me based upon the illiquidity, and really there's very little in the way of price movement. Now again, this could be a different trade for, you know, other traders where they sit, you know, on, like I showed you there, on the penny and look for the move up. That's not really how I trade. It's not my methodology for trading these small cap gappers, so it suffers from illiquidity, but hey, let's put some respect on this one's name. It's up 13.5% on the day. So if you're in this, you know, you're doing well. Let's look to the daily. Yeah, so this one is, you know, one of those ones that just has outsized days, but when you look at the chart pattern as a whole, it's seen certainly better days. This reverse split umpteen amount of times because the price action goes all the way up into like 1200s. Sorry, it can be more helpful there. Still holding here, Joey. 20 pennies in the money here on ASTI. We got back into this one. It's a very, very clean hold. Look at this, guys. The obvious breakout level of 20. Clears it, comes back in, tests it once, twice. OB, he is the one thrice. And right back into that, close to the high of the day. I just went the beak there at 45s. The high of the day is 50. The next profit taker goes above that $0.50. We're going to go 55s. See what we can get in and around that level. Get it, Casey. Bovin in love with TROX. Uncle Sharif, I'm swinging this. All right, Casey, let's see what TROX has to offer over here. Let's take a quick look.
Man, oh man.
Rock star, baby. I'm a rock star. Man, I love Don Toliver, bro. I don't know, keep talking about this.
Yeah, you like that guy. I like one song on my playlist.
That's it, eh? Just one song by Don?
Yeah, man. Dude, I'm an R&B guy, man. Been listening to a lot of rock and roll lately as well.
I like that. You've been listening to a lot of rock, eh?
Yeah, a lot of rock, man. R&B guy, man.
That's cool. TROX, let's look at this. This is not bad, Case. Even intraday, I'm going to look at it on the wider time frame, but this is a bull flag. It's just, again, kind of a liquid. But it doesn't really matter for your case because it looks like you're swinging this anyway, so who cares? 2.25 million shares at 1 o'clock on an $8 name, but it's got a great looking pattern. It's putting in higher lows, suffering from a little bit of lower highs here, holding 8 most notably, so that whole dollar psychological support intact. Let's flip to the daily. And look at that, man. Look at the recovery above the 50, above the 200.
That's a trend line.
And then look at what we got here, Joey.
Yeah, boy.
You know what we got here? That's the golden cross. That red line is the 50. That blue line is the 200.
Can you
there you go.
Zoom out on that
Yes,
one
sir.
a little bit? Like, so this is what I'm talking about, not trying to necessarily catch a bottom on the Netflixes and the Bitcoin. It's like if you draw a trend line from peak
I know
to
where you're
trough,
looking. I know where
right?
you're
Like it's like even if it goes further out, like there, you know what I mean? You wait for it to hold, no, in.
Like this?
Yeah, exactly. Or you want the most touches, obviously. So you
Well, that's
were
what I was
right.
thinking,
Yeah, you
right?
were
You know
right.
what I mean? Like,
So it's
that's a break
That's
rate,
a break.
Joey.
That's a
Yeah.
break right there. So if you wait and you eventually get on the back side of that, look how much more of appreciation you're getting on it instead of
100%.
trying to just continuously pick the bottom on things.
100%. And that's kind of what we try to preach.
Yeah.
You know, let's wait for the bottom. I made the mistake of adding aggressively into Meta when it was bleeding. That forced me to dollar cost average into the 500s. But you know, you live and learn, right?
Absolutely.
So I really like this, Casey. What the hell does this company do? $1.27 billion market cap. Producer of titanium products, including titanium dioxide, pigment, specialty grade titanium dioxide products, and high purity titanium chemicals, and zircon. The company is vertically integrated. Manufactures of TiO2 pigment, mines titanium-bearing minerals, sands, and operates upgrading facilities that produce high-grade titanium feedstock materials, pig iron, I don't know what that is, and other materials, including the rare earth-bearing minerals. Wow, okay, so this is not a bad look at all. And definitely, you know, as we know the materials are quite volatile, but this is going on my materials watch list. Thank you for that, Case. And I like how you're swinging that because you're probably printing up a storm. There is the golden cross, guys. This is probably going to be on a lot of people's radars because you can filter your scanner. Show me all the stocks on the daily that have experienced a golden cross today, right? There's so many different ways to set up your scanners. Some people set it up that way, especially swing traders, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that golden cross and to ride the momentum higher. So yeah, I do like this, Case. Shout out to you. Joey, what do you got?
Yeah, good stuff. All right, guys, let's see what we got going on here. Silver starting to come back in, so you get that volume-weighted average price rejection. And I was thinking, oh, man, if you play this break here and get in a little bit higher at this consolidation, your risk to reward is going to be really tight, and you get a nice little move here. And maybe the same thing going on with the Nas. I just have so much issues shorting this thing, going long. It's just like, man, oh, man, whatever direction I decide to go on it just decides to go the opposite sometimes. So here is the TQQQs. We're still sitting in this Oscar health. It looks like it wants to break, so maybe some sellers are going to step in. We can punch through that $13 mark and head into that next key pivot around 1280. That will be prime time Deion Sanders.
Great call, Bovin.
Nice consolidation. I don't mind this over here. So yeah, that's what we have. A nice, cool, calm day. I know a lot of people saying not too much excitement. That's why we're having a little bit of fun with it, a little conversation here and there. So if you guys want to go over everything, there goes silver with an additional leg lower, guys. Now down to 73.24. So a nice look there if you are still short. Los Pollos, are you still short silver? I'm curious to know, especially after that pullback, if it didn't break you out or you had somewhat of a trailing stop. But there it is. This is the volume that I'm talking about on the lower time frames. Keep an eye on the tape, and not necessarily what the price is telling you right here. So at the bid and the ask, we're sitting around 0.06 and 0.07 on OSCR on the NYSE. Now, what are you guys looking at? Let's go over a couple of your names. Make sure you get those votes in as well.
Joey, can I interrupt for one quick
man.
sec? Just want to give you this, and I'll send it back to Joey. Shout out to Bovin. HURA is breaking out, and it's up 50%. It's really kind of going now. The volume's kicking in. Look at the volume bars on the bottom right of your screen. They're really picking up. So be on the lookout here. HURA, $1.23 high, Joey, up 48%.
Sorry. All right, you are. Okay, I am, says Filter Trades. But yeah, nice, 1305, you're keeping an eye on it. I'm assuming that's what you meant. NVDA, we've gone over those names. Commodity Kings brought us Bloom Energy, continuing to grind higher here, guys. So a nice little move up to $155 in Bloom Energy. What's Palantir been up to? A nice, taking another hit. What was this one? QCOM, a nice strong recovery here, but Palantir down to 140. Did we get a bounce? Yeah, so you get a break, you get a bounce off of that 128 mark, and then sure enough, you're starting to come back in a little bit here on Palantir. But we mentioned this for a while ago from the 150s is, hey, you see the same pattern across multiple names, and you get those neckline breaks. Now you're starting to get somewhat of a rebound. And I like what Neil was saying is that the the stronger bounces are in bear markets, and I totally agree on that. So that's why it's kind of like an attractive play. But there it is, Robinhood, SoFi. How have you been reacting since the break of those lows? What are we off of that previous pivot high? Approximately 40% at the lows, now only down 34%, so something to keep an eye out on. Robinhood still down roughly around the same, maybe even 35% or so, so keep an eye out on Robinhood. 44%. This thing had a 50% haircut at some point, man. Yeah, it was like, oh man, oh man, oh man. All right, guys, so Oscar Health, a strong rebound, keeping an eye on this 312, 313, as it looks like it wants to rebound and not crack that 1306 mark there, brother.
See Jake Paul?
Yeah, and his girlfriend, Yuka. Yeah.
That man was deep into the tears.
He was
there,
balling, yeah. Would you do that? Would you? I would be, maybe. I don't know. I've never been in that situation.
Exactly. I'm not going to touch him for that.
I'll tell you one thing, man. Like, just watching athletes win certain things, it hits like a home, like, it hits, it's like, oh, man, you achieved what, like, you've essentially practiced your whole life for, which is huge. So,
yeah, I didn't know she was Dutch. I thought she was American, but
Dutch,
yeah, she's Dutch.
Yeah, okay, good for him. Good for him. All right, I think we're 3 past 1. Let's get down to work. We're going to start the news segment today, guys. I think this is a record for the morning note. It's the longest it's ever been. I think what are we at today? I think we're 18 pages or 19 pages, something like that. 19. So we did 19 today on the morning note. So let's get right down to work. We know, of course, Alphabet, the worst performing Mag 7 name on the day, down 1 3/4. How come? Well, let's do this, Assassino. They priced a $20 billion 7-part bond offering, and the funds are going to accelerate, guess what? Artificial intelligence infrastructure spending. The issuance spans different maturity dates. The first and the earliest maturity date, 2029. The latest, at least for now, 2066. But get this, they're also considering a 100-year bond, but it's going to be in sterling pounds. We still haven't seen them do that, not at the time of the writing of this article, but apparently, according to the article, there is demand for that 100-year bond. Will Google even be around in 100 years? I mean, there's companies that are way older, so I'm assuming probably, yeah. But this highlights the strategic pivot we've seen from big tech, from self-funding their AI build-out, now looking to leverage cheap credit, right? Your Google, your king, what? So because you're so good, because you're Google or Alphabet, you can obviously charge or pay out, I should say, a lot less of a coupon because your credit's so good. Your AAA credit, somebody with single A or double A is going to have to schlep more. So they're taking advantage of their size and their reputation to be able to raise debt, raise money at low rates. Who can dog them for that? But the market is, at least for the moment, 1 3/4. But this continues to, reignite the focus on the AI spending and the scale, and whether or not you're going to get near-term payoffs. They expect total capital expenditures by big tech in 2026 to be $630 billion. Of that $630, Google has guided that they're going to spend about $185 billion, just to give you the size of this bad boy here. But the funding is going to, via long-dated debt, reduces that near-term cash flow pressure so you can kind of continue to fund operations. And it doesn't look as bad on your balance sheet come earnings time, right? You're holding higher free cash flow, so you don't get, at least, on the headline basis, penalized by the market. Alphabet's issues follows that $25 billion bond sale we saw by Oracle, Joey, but something tells me that Google is probably not going to suffer the same fate that we've seen Oracle suffer.
Yeah, absolutely. Just due to obviously the free cash flow as well too, Sharif. So they got a lot of cash. These guys aren't worried about it. The 100-year though, that's quite a bit. That's quite a bit. Like, why would you even hold on to that? You have to hold it until expiration.
You better be getting paid for that.
Yeah, like big time. Like, what do you think you're gonna get? You would never get double digit. I don't think.
I don't think so. Not in this environment. No, well, for a 100-year bond though.
If you,
I want to know what that is. You keep talking. I'm going to have to find out where it is.
It's like, man, if that's not double digit, then mid double digits, anyways, like 20, almost 20%. I would be looking for that thing. But no, interesting stuff, guys. Like the rounds of funding are going to continue. Obviously going a different round in which we've seen the open AIs, the oracles, and everything along those lines. So there's nothing I would really worry about. We talk about the technicals on Google as well. The street didn't really take their CapEx, and we go across the big names. Almost every single one of them is doubling it. So it's very interesting to see Google's route here. But I mentioned this is going to be probably, in my opinion, Sharif's opinion as well too, in a couple of years, it's going to be the largest market capitalization company in the stock market.
Listen to this, Joey. So they issued a 40-year bond to U.S. in the U.S. dollar denomination, and they're paying $5.75 on that. But because this is a European, specifically targeted in sterling, they're only paying 5.25 to 5.5 on a 100-year bond. Talk about duration risk. Why would I put my money in that?
Why would you ever do that?
Well, I don't know, man.
I don't even, like, I don't quite understand it either. Like, don't you have to wait until maturity? Like, you're not going to live.
Maturity, you get the principal back, but you're going to get that coupon every year.
Every year, yeah, exactly, yeah.
All right, it is what it is. The audacity, says Curtis. All right, let's go on to the next story. What do we got here? Tesla. Executive exit adds pressure amid sales slowdown. We're not going to go with the sales slowdown. Everybody knows it. We've talked about it ad nauseum. But they disclosed, Tesla that is, that longtime executive, Raj Jagannathan, is leaving the company after 13 years. This is according to a LinkedIn post. He most recently served as VP overseeing the IT department, the AI infrastructure, as well as business applications and information security. So he had a broad, big you-know-what portfolio there. And in 2024, he was asked to step down. Sorry, he was asked to step in and lead Tesla's sales organization after that dismal North American sales by the previous head of that department, Troy Jones. The leadership, though, reshuffle is kind of continuing to underscore the internal strain that Tesla is experiencing after attempts to stabilize volumes and margins. You know, I think that we're still looking at Tesla as a car company, or certainly the writer of this article is. I think I personally moved past the whole narrative that they are an EV, only company, and I think that obviously it's more robotics and autonomy.
Yeah, I think that's been the narrative for quite some time. Like, how long have we talked about Tesla being one of the most forward-looking names in the market? If you go across the board and look at all the other car manufacturers, they shouldn't be at any form of valuation in which Tesla is, and I think that's just the narrative, is that it's a tech company, it's energy storage, they're going to continuously grow and expand what their business is, whether it be within robotics, aside from what Elon's got going on the side, autonomy. So our boy Dan Ives is like, hey man, this is one of the purest, aside from Palantir, this could be a pure AI play. Why? Just due to the autonomy segment, and then also with robotics as well too. So I think that's how you remain forward-looking with Tesla. Is just, hey, and I mentioned this before, Sharif, is I wouldn't be surprised like 10, 15 years down the road where Elon's like, hey, we're really going to put this auto manufacturing to the side a little bit and just focus on how well the robotics can potentially do the autonomous side as well. So I think that's the future for Tesla.
To build on your point, I think he's taking the first step, the cancellation of the X, the cancellation of the S.
There you go.
And
if that
for Optimus.
And then if that's the case, you're never going to see the Roadster or the Model 2, right? Like, he's just like,
he's still talking about the Roadster at the end of this year.
It's not coming.
Do you know that they're talking about putting plasma boosters on there?
Yeah.
Like rocket plasma boosters to bring it from 0 to 100 or 0 to 60
in like how
in
long?
less than a second. He was saying, but he's Elon.
Like, how would you? Like, it's like boom. You're at
that.
You couldn't even drive, man.
No, but some of these Chinese EVs, like the Xiaomi SU7, that crazy spec version, it's like 1,500 horsepower. It's in that range, man. It's like sub 2. It's insane, dude.
60 mph.
Which one? What do you mean?
The SU. Yeah.
They're not all like that. It's like there's a spec specifically. It's like 1,500 horsepower, something dumb. Anyway, let's go on. UK antitrust push pressures Apple and Google app stores. So here's what's happening here. The UK's Competition Market Authority, the CMA, they're seeking public feedback on the commitments that have been made by both Apple and Alphabet to align their mobile ecosystems to the new digital competition rules. The review is part of the CMA's kind of next step in enforcing the digital markets competition and consumer bills. The feedback is due by the 3rd of March, and then the commitments are expected to take effect from the 1st of April. So, give you some context here. Apple and Google both pledged to ensure app reviews are conducted in a fair, objective, and transparent manner. Both companies said they would avoid discriminating against rival apps in favor of their own services, and the firms also committed not to misuse data collected from developers used during the app review process. So why are we even talking about using data that doesn't belong to you? Because this is what Altman and a lot of people are being accused of right now in the tech sector. Altman specifically, and I'm not saying this is true, this is what's being speculated, that he is making chat, cheaper than what it should or could be in exchange for you using it so that they can learn, study, see how you use it, see the apps that you're building on it, and basically beat you to the punch. A lot of people are trying to draw comparisons to how Microsoft operated in the 1990s, where they allowed Lotus 123, WordPerfect onto the Windows 95 or Windows 3.11, whatever, and then basically saw exactly how they were operating and then made Microsoft Office. So that's been the concern with a lot of these tech companies. If I show you the code, if I show you the goods, you're just going to go and compete with me. So this is kind of the commitment Apple is making. Whether you guys believe that or not, that it's going to happen in real life and they're going to honor this stuff, I think reasonable people can disagree on that. Let's talk about this, the legal framework and the timeline here. The CMA plans to designate both Apple and Google as companies of strategic market status in 26, bringing them formally under the review of the law. The designation allows the regulator to set binding conduct requirements for services like search engines, app marketplace, etc. Google said it believes the Play Store practices are already fair, and Apple argued it faces intense competition across all markets and said the commitments allow it continued progress on privacy and security features, Joey.
I just find it funny that they said they would avoid discriminating against rival apps in favor of their own. I mean, yeah, it's just like, well, we could still use our own. We can say we considered something, but we don't like it as much as what we currently have. But I understand what they got going on. UK, once again, with another antitrust coming into some of these big boys. Want to make a fair playing field. Sure enough, they're still going to catch their commissions on. You're going to have to pay to be in the App Store and everything along those lines. So the more apps, the better, I think, in my opinion. If they want more clarity, then so be it. I don't think this is going to have too much a dent in either of their names, to be honest. It hasn't proven to any sort of say. They'll pay whatever fine if it doesn't go their way and then be on their merry way.
Oh, yeah, and the Europeans will be more than glad to find them there. Let's talk about Amazon making an AI content marketplace to kind of monetize publisher data. So they're laying the groundwork for a marketplace that would allow publishers to sell their content directly to companies building AI products. The initiative is still very in the very early stages, and it's AWS here. They've circulated internal slides referencing this content marketplace ahead of the conference presentation. AWS is pitching the concept alongside other AI offerings like Bedrock and Q, and it's framing the marketplace as complementary to the infrastructure it's building out for AI. And it's suggesting, this report that is, that AWS could act as both a distribution layer and a billing intermediary between the publishers and the AI developers. So looking at getting a little Apple love there. But they're not the first to this. Microsoft is already doing this. They reported that they're launching publishers content marketplace, and that's going to allow publishers to license their premium content into AI workflows. So it already exists. So, I'm not saying that they're not going to do well, but just Microsoft's already come out with it. Microsoft highlighted the publisher-controlled licensing terms and usage-based reporting, so we'll keep an eye on that. And then Amazon said it has nothing specific to share at the moment regarding the report, suggesting, it's neither denying it nor confirming it, but the lack of denial kind of keeps the story alive. So, Joey, marketplace, do you think it's moving for Amazon? I mean, they could probably take a little off the top here and a little off the top there, but it's not bad to have your name
at the forefront of AI build, even if you're not the one doing anything and you're not monetizing it all that much?
No, I don't think that's a bad idea, right? Like, look at Meta; they're not really monetizing anything right now.
Exactly.
They can't. So yeah, it's interesting stuff here. They'll find a way to monetize it for sure. There's without any question in that. But to have your name in the hat, it's more ideal, and that's what you want. Amazon's going to be just fine. AWS continuously growing at a substantial rate. Really started to catch up to the e-commerce segment as well too. Out of comparison, I think obviously we have Google Cloud growing the fastest. Then it was Amazon, I believe, and then Microsoft. Second and third might be switched up. But the growth rate is substantial, and I think it's going to remain that way. Once again, these guys wouldn't be spending their money on this build-out if they didn't find any form of ROI, and eventually they will. So,
all right, let's go on to CVS, Joey. CVS has been doing all right lately, man. This was a company that wasn't doing well for a while, but they're okay. EPS adjusted, that is 109, beating the 99 expected by analysts on revenue of now over 100 billion, 105.69 billion. The street was looking for 103.59, and that net income, their take-home money, rose very sharply, a little bit less than 3 billion, 2.92 billion, Katina, man, for their revenue. That's up from the 1.62 billion they took home last year on the quarter. Let's talk about their guidance as well. Very important. They're confirming full-year EPS to be 7 to 7.20 per share. That's broadly in line with the 7.17 expected by analysts, and they're maintaining their 2026 revenue outlook of at least $400 billion. They did, however, flag that $20 billion headwind embedded in the guidance. Half of it's tied to the existing ACA individual exchange market, and the half to lower drug pricing. And we've seen that with, obviously, President Trump, really with the initiative to lower the drug pricing there. Their insurance business, wowzers. Almost $36.33 billion. That is up about 10% year over year. And management in that division reiterated its goal of restructuring the Medicare Advantage margins back to about 3 to 4% by 2028. They've been pressured lately. And their medical benefit ratio held steady at 94.8. That is a very important metric for these medical insurance companies. If you know, you know. And then their pharmacy and consumer wellness revenue rose 12.4%, now bringing in more than their insurance business, about 37 2/3 billion. And a lot of that was as a result of the Rite Aid acquisition that they made. Their prescription count rose markedly after that Rite Aid buyout. And they operating, Joey, more than 9,000 retail pharmacy. Shares are up 40% in the last year.
I forget who was speaking about it, but did you see kind of that like cyclical effect of CVS Health, what they call the perfect customer?
No.
So essentially,
Explain.
so CVS owns the doctor's offices,
Yes.
right? So they own the doctor's office who provides the script. They go to CVS, they buy it there, and then sure enough, they implement it into the insurance as well too. So this is what they classify as the perfect customer.
Vertically
right?
integrated,
Yeah,
baby.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what they got going on. Healthcare benefits up 9% year over year. Health services up 11% year over year. Pharmacy and consumer revenue up double digits, 12% in Q4, helped by higher prescription volumes and shares gain. So a lot going on, reimbursement pressure and generics obviously partially offset by that. So yeah, very interesting stuff. They just have that perfect customer. They send you to everything in kind of that ecosystem, like kind of like Apple, but with the healthcare system. So it's fishy stuff, but
it is. Well, it is fishy. So I want to kind of build on your point. So this is something my family deals with.
Yeah.
So Joey.
Yeah.
Right now, you walk into the doctor's office.
Yeah. Owned
You're
by
supposed to
CVS.
get, you know, the prescription in your hand, right? The doctor's writing you a script. You need antibiotics. You're sick. Typically, you'd get it in your hand, or the doctor would print it out in the office and hand it to you.
Yeah.
But some very creative individuals, they didn't like that model because the customer gets a prescription in their hand, and then they can decide which pharmacy to go to.
Instead,
They would
now they're
leave.
sending
So
it.
you know what they would do? Now this is not allowed anymore by the Ontario College of Pharmacists, but they would basically tell you, oh, the printer is in the pharmacy. Go pick it up from the pharmacy. And like they'd have your prescription already ready, and if you chose, you could have taken it. If you didn't, you didn't have to, right? But most people did. They're like, oh, it's ready? Okay, I don't have to wait. Highly unethical, right? And they're cracking down hard on that kind of stuff. I'm just one of the many different little gimmicks they do in the pharmacy medical clinic business. If you guys probably already know that kind of stuff, but
Let's go to always Coca-Cola. How are we doing here, Joey?
Armenian Muscle says he hasn't been in a doctor's office in 15
That's
years.
my man. That's because he's jacked, my boy.
He's in good shape. Yeah, the market is really starting to slide here. We're getting that downward move in silver and in the TQQQs, right? Like, so you get that break, and then now, sure enough, you're right at this neckline of 15.51, holds $52, and then now you're moving a little bit lower. So keep an eye out on this for some potential downward movement. We did get that flush into 13, but you get bought right back up there in Oscar Health. We took some off right at 13s, and then now we're starting to climb a little bit higher. I don't have much left there, guys.
All right, Coca-Cola down 1 2/3 on the day, but it was, let's see, did we get to all-time highs on this thing? Let me flip to the weekly. Okay, we just got to all-time highs last week on Coke, by the way, 79.20. That was the high from last week. This week, 79.11. So it looks like at $79 level, a bit of a resistance level. Let's talk about the earnings report. EPS, 58 pennies ahead of the 56. Check. Revenue, missed. 11.82, the street wanted over 12, 12.03. So a mixed top line for the current quarter. But their net income, $2.27 billion in profit, and that's up from the 2.2 they took home a year ago. However, shares were down as investors focused more, Joey, on the revenue miss and the cautious near-term outlook than they did on the profitability with EPS. The reaction is suggesting, expectations may have been elevated. We've seen this before. Let's talk about their demand and their volume trends. Unit case volume up 1% year over year, but that is the second consecutive quarter of volume growth on that top line. North American volumes rose 1%. Latin America, though, takes the cake here with a 2% increase, but both regions showing early signs of stabilization after we saw some negative prints last year on that. Remember the Ozempic thing where everyone was like, oh, Coke sucks, Ozempic, right? Like Pepsi, though, Coke continues to contend with budget-conscious consumers, trading down or not buying at all. Net sales grew 2% year over year. Organic revenue rose a healthier 5%, and they're guiding about 4 to 5% revenue growth, organic revenue growth for 2026. Comparable EPS growth is expected to be about 7 to 8% for the full year. I don't know if you know this. I was telling Brendo at the big desk in the morning. Do you know they canceled those sugary drinks? So you know the Minute Maids that you put in the concentrate, like in the cans that you add water to? Gone.
Oh, I never. You add water to it?
Yeah. Because you don't want to drink the concentrate. So you the big can, throw it in the jug, you add water to it. So all those are gone.
The frozen one.
The frozen one.
Yeah. I used to drink the Fruitopia ones of that. Yeah, interesting stuff, man. A lot going on. You guys heard my opinion on this. Someone said Mexican Coca-Cola is better than McDonald's Coca-Cola. McDonald's, don't get me started there. All right. So there it is, guys. Let's take a look a little bit more. So from each specific segment here in Coca-Cola, North America sold volume and more Coke Zero as well too. Latin America, strong volume and pricing. Water tea with water volume up. Asia Pacific mixed with softness and some sparkling flavors. And then we have Global Ventures, Costa Coffee, a lot going on here with Coca-Cola, but full year guidance, not too bad. 2025 net revenue up 2%. Yeah, full year EPS up 23%. But this name, like you talk about the rotation, right? 13% from those January lows. That's a big move in Coca-Cola, especially if you're a dividend individual. This is more or less what you sit in this for because you don't get too much steady appreciation. What's the chat saying?
All the Coke innuendos. It's just Chuck.
Yeah, but they're saying mix.
It's like you can't say Coke around this.
Yeah, you can't say Coke.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
But there goes NMRA into the area high. We've been holding this one for a while. I'm looking for the next profit taker, 11 and 14s. It's up 30% or thereabouts, 29%. Such a slow mover, but we saw the hold at around 295, and it held trend, looking for a move back up over here into the high. 310 currently the high. Adara, please give us your take on Coke.
I don't have too much to say here, but I do want to talk about one metric in particular, which is why I decided to talk about this. And it's Coke's annual revenue growth, because this is like just so all over the place. There is no trend here. There's no uptrend. There's no downtrend. This is as swiggly as the little white swiggle line that you see in a Coke can. If you guys know what I'm talking about, little white, wavy logo, that's basically what this growth chart looks like. 33% growth, in 2011. I just went back like 15 years for this. Then you get as much as a 15% decline in 2017. And that decline is larger than what we even got during the pandemic. So I haven't added like 2025 yet, but last year we had 3% growth for 2024. Now just 2% growth. So this isn't a massive change. Although I guess if you do look at it from 2021 onward, we've had slight year-over-year slowdowns in growth. But the point I'm trying to make is, and Pepsi's kind of similar in this way, there's just no rhyme or reason to the growth here. So I always, like I said, what I've been trying to do more with this earnings segment, both in terms of how I think about things and how I visualize them for you guys here on TTV Research, is what metrics kind of matter and don't matter for companies. It's very clear that revenue growth or net sales growth or whatever you have there is not something that matters for Coca-Cola, because this thing will continue to swerve up and down, much like the rates of someone's sugar crashing after they have a Coke. Back to you.
Let's talk about AstraZeneca reaffirming their long-term growth ambitions on strong results. So they reiterated that they have an $80 billion yearly revenue target. Hopefully they'll hit that by 2030. They're citing performance across emerging markets as well as deep late-stage pipeline. More on that in a second. Let's talk about their 2026 earnings outlook and growth guidance. They expect 2026 revenue to be about to mid to high single digits. That's pretty good. Core EPS, they're projecting to be low double digits. Not bad at all. And guidance here signaling that signaling steady compounding rather than acceleration. Let's talk about that pipeline. The company highlighted that they have 16, what they're calling, I'm not calling it that, but they're calling it blockbuster treatments already in the portfolio, and more than 100 late-stage trials are ongoing, multiple shots on goal through 2026 and beyond. Now, let's talk about their obesity drug segment, because that's been in vogue for a while. They flagged Ecloglipron, an oral obesity candidate. It's moving into the late-stage trials. They did want to emphasize and differentiate their products from Lilly's and Novo's, and they say, and I love this, Joey, they're focusing on improving the quality of the weight loss. You know what that means, Joey? We don't need catabolism. You don't, not the other one, catabolism, reducing muscle mass deterioration. That's what I want to see. So when we joke, like, what's wrong? Why do you have Ozempic neck? That's what we're talking about there. We're talking about, huge amounts of muscle loss in addition to fat loss, and they're trying to reduce the muscle loss and focus on the fat loss. You got to like it. Let's see if they can do it. Emerging markets, as we mentioned at the time, are viewed as a significant untapped opportunity for obesity treatments. And here's what they actually made in terms of revenue. $15.5 billion. That's in line with estimates. Core EPS, $2.12, a penny above expectations of $2.11, but it is up from that $2.09 a year ago, Joe.
Yeah, interesting stuff. I like the obesity drug thing where they're just kind of focusing on not necessarily everybody talks about Ozempic feet and Ozempic face and everything along those lines, where you're actually losing the muscle mass like Sharif just mentioned, but just focusing on the core thing, and that's losing weight, whether it be continuously reducing appetite. Oh my God, what's going on here with the daily? I'm not getting any data here, Sharif, but if you look at the technicals on this thing, there's no way.
It's happening on mine as well. It's happening on mine as well. On this morning when I was copying the 15-minute chart
did that,
to
right?
get the technicals, I couldn't get the data either.
One thing that I personally find alarming here is just like 18 more or 60 more blockbuster treatments. It's like, okay, really, what is that? And 100 late-stage clinical trials. Like, what are you really trying to pump out to people these days? I think a lot of it can be solved with healthy lifestyle and everything. There's obviously, without that being said, people need these treatments, but that's a lot down the pipeline, and I think that's a little optimistic as well too, because with those with the trials, things can turn the bad way real quick.
Absolutely, it could be, and we always talk about this. We're like hoping AI was going to be able to help shorten and reduce some of the R&D costs, shorten the trials.
Yeah.
If they can get around these things or reduce them, Joey, it's like such a cost burden.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Oscar Health, because OSCR was an interesting one this morning. Where is it at? Oscar Health. We've got 4 1/3. Let's talk about how they did. Q4 loss of $352.6 million, or about $1.24 per share. That is wider than the $153.5 million they lost a year ago, or
If you want to look at it on an EPS basis, about 62 pennies per share. They also missed expectations. The analysts wanted an 89 penny loss. They lost a lot more than that, $1.25, no good. The company continues to struggle with elevated medical utilization, especially with outpatient care, they say. Revenue, that top line number did rise 17% year over year, up to $2.81 billion. However, this came in below the 3.11 expected by analysts. So some, good and bad. Here's where it kind of gets a little bit dicey, and I'm not really sure why this is up, but their medical loss ratio continues to climb, 95.4. That's well above the long-term target and up from the 88.1 last year. Higher claims intensity continue to weigh on margins, and we've seen that with a higher EPS loss. Total members, though, increased about 2 million as of December 31st of last year. That is up from the 1.68. And the growth was driven by strong demand in individual as well as a small business market, probably a little bit more higher margin. But membership expansion, much like what we said about SoFi when they added 1 million new members up to 13.5, membership expansion supports revenue visibility. So if you're looking at being able to gauge what their revenue is going to be in the next year, in the next 6 months, look at their membership acceleration to see how many new people can we monetize. And so maybe that's why we're up, a little bit more of a positive view there. Now, with respect to the guide, they're guiding about $250 to $450 million in operating earnings and about $18.7 to $19 billion in revenue, Joey.
I'm just reading here. So core insurance booking premiums driven by membership and pricing, MLR and risk adjustment flows, admin and services small fee revenue line, Cigna plus Oscar, which seems to be down roughly around 40K and down more than 80% year over year. Interesting, but you're getting the membership increase, as you mentioned not too long ago. Investment income driven by float size and yield provides modest upside leverage and revenue invested assets. So interesting stuff here on Oscar Telehealth. But let's pull up the actual underlying here and see what we got going on, because this can tell us a lot here from a daily perspective. I mean, if we zoom out and make this as large as we possibly can, this is a lot of what the healthcare sector does here, guys. It's just a sideways price movement. You get these big breakup, but we gap up here today, which we head into a key resistance zone, which act as prior resistance at 1426, and then you get that move right back in. So I think it's a little bit tough here, considering it's just a lot of sideways price action here in Oscar Health. I think Katina Man was involved with this. You're going to want to zoom out on this a little bit more to see if there's actually anything going on. And we're not even past that IPO price. We're down substantially from that $37 mark, approximately 64%. So a little bit of a tough look here on Oscar.
Thank you, Joey. Let's just get to the super chat. Frederick, thank you very much, Frederick. I saw PSG, and then, Frederick, if you know me, you know where my mind went immediately. Paris Saint-Germain. Le Classique was on the weekend. Paris Saint-Germain versus Marseille, and Marseille got smacked. I think it was 5-0 or 5-1. But yeah, that was definitely not a competitive match. Usually competitive between those two. But you're asking about Paramount Gold. You say, although PSG, Paramount Gold, isn't the biggest mining company, they are among the earliest to report today. Should be interesting to see the free cash for mining companies given the rise of gold. Well said. Well said. I don't think you're really asking for anything there. I think you're just making the statement. So I'm trying to look for it here. I can't find it. PSG. Can you tell me where it trades? You don't have to super chat again, Frederick. Just let me know where it trades, because I can't seem to find it on my exchange here. So just tag myself or Joey. I can actually search quickly here. Paramount Gold. Let me just search for this super quick, Joey.
Yeah.
Let's go Paramount. What is the ticker for Paramount Gold? Show me. Let's see over here what we're going to get, and then we'll go on to the next story super quick. It's on PZG. It's on the MX. PZG. Thank you. There it is. Okay, let's bring in the chart. We'll have a look at this one quickly. PZG Assassino. There we go. Oh, this is nice. This is real nice here. Yeah, this is not too bad at all. Let's flip to the weekly. Okay, so we just got to all-time highs, I think not that long ago. I think yesterday probably. Yes, that does breach the high that I think we put in 2015. Thank you for this one. This is going to go on my mining as well.
PZG is the ticker, PZG, for my Canadians and my British people out there. So this is not a bad look. We're going to throw that on to the miners. Sorry. PZG. There we go. And thank you for that, brother. I appreciate it. No question by you, so we'll go on to the next topic. Let's talk about race. Ferrari. Where are they at? So Ferrari up nicely. Oh, baby, 9.58% for the Italian automaker. They reported adjusted Q4 EPS coming in at $2.55. I'm going to say it in euros from now on. So 214 euros, that beats the 210 expected by analysts, and revenue rose 4% year over year on that top line, now bringing 1.8 billion euros ahead of the 1.77 expected. It helped ease the earnings beat, that is, ease investors' concerns about margin pressure that had weighed on the stock over the past year. They also guided quite well. Revenue coming in at 7.5 billion euros. That's broadly in line with expectations. But more importantly, they projected an adjusted operating margin above 29.5%. Not bad at all. That tops the 29.1 consensus. Stronger than expected margin guidance viewed as key to that cleaning event for investors waiting on clarity around profitability. The stock is still down about 29% over the past year. I don't know if that's accurate given the 9.5% move today. RBC Capital Markets analyst Tom Narayan reiterated his outperform rating on Ferrari with a 415 euro price target, which implies about a 47% upside from the close yesterday, and he suggested the rally could extend beyond the initial reaction as confidence rebuilds following their new 2026 guidance. But there is still an overhang here. Investors do remain cautious around the long-term margin trajectory for the company and the rollout of its first fully electric vehicle. Brendo and what's his name, Randy, was telling me about a hybrid Testarossa. It has a V8 twin turbocharged, I think, and 3 electric motors. What the hell is this? I need to see this Ferrari Testarossa. So let's pull this up because my curiosity is getting the better of me right now. Let's check out Ferrari Testarossa. Let's go EV. Let's see what this thing looks like. Don't know. Oh my days. Is this it for real? This is it, isn't it? Oh my, is this for real? Ram, look at this. You're looking? Isn't this, you're busy? Excuse me, I'm sorry. My goodness. This is really nice. And I like how the light covers open up like very 80s, but very modern as well. This is a crazy looking car. Yeah, this is the new Testarossa, Joey. It's gonna have 3 electric motors, and I think it's going to be a V8 engine. The original was 12 cylinders, but we know they're not doing that anymore. Pardon me? Oh, well, yeah, I've got something back to say there. 800 horsepower V12 engine with a 120 kilowatt electric motor. 2021. All right. We're done with this. Anyway, Joey, you want to comment about race?
Yeah. And I can't really afford one, man, so.
This guy's a joke. All right, let's go on to the next story. Let's talk a little Taiwan Semi. TSMC revenue surges, and they signal continued AI demand strength. So Taiwan Semi reported January revenue, not the full earnings, just January. They brought in about 12.73 billion US dollars, but that's about 401.6 new Taiwanese dollars. Either way, it's up 20% quarter over quarter sequentially and 37% year over year on that top line number, underscoring obviously the dominant position they have in fabs. It reinforces demand momentum ahead of the company's previously guided 30% full year revenue increase. They don't provide commentary, however, on monthly reports. The data does suggest sustained strength in the AI related orders as they accelerate. They said they plan to spend about $56 billion in CapEx, which is one of the reasons kind of we started moving back up on that CapEx or in big tech and semiconductors after some weakness a couple of weeks ago once they reported. And management expects elevated capex to continue over the next 3 years as it races to meet demand for advanced AI chips. Spending here kind of reinforces the confidence the current demand is structural rather than cyclical. That has been the worries, of course, by a lot of people. And according to the Financial Times, major U.S. tech companies may be exempt from semiconductor tariffs, offering potential tailwind for Taiwan Semi as it makes their products a bit cheaper and more competitive. The carve-out is reportedly tied to TSM's pledge to actually spend $165 billion in capex in the United States to increase their manufacturing capacity. Exemptions could allow TSMC to allocate the tariff relief benefits to its American customers, again, improving that pricing. Joey, Taiwan Semi.
Interesting. We got gross margins up, Sharif, quarter over quarter, 2.8%, operating margin up to 54% as well, too. EPS continuing to climb, 3 nanometer process, 28% of wafer revenue in Q4 2025. Advanced node 7 nanometer and below, 74% of 2025 wafer revenue. So a lot going on here with TSMC. I mean, none of this build-out is working without these guys right here as they continue to climb to new heights, a new all-time high right there in TSM, a big move to the top side, a gap up here, and then after that report, boom, you get a little bit of a slide. But if we head over to the technicals in this name, what an investment, right? Like this is ideal. This is kind of what you want. You go to those April lows, and you're catching a quick 170%, right? So in a short period of time, 316 days, 46 bars, how does that work? But anyways, aside from that, that's not a year. March, we're almost there. All right, 309. I mean, we're almost there. Wow, April. That was the tantrum lows. So yeah, 170% here in TSM, a substantial move. And what else can you say, right? Like you go across the board and see what, oh, that's why it's because we're on the weekly. Same thing with like NVDA. What happens, right? We know they're reporting near the end of the month. But if you look at this consolidation, what is it telling us? We're just failing to continuously put in any new lows. Is this going to be a move where we break out higher and put this name into new all-time highs? Am I going to bet against this? It'd be smart for me not to. 2,000% in the span of a couple of years, 4 years to be exact. I mean, a little bit less. So, man, oh man, it's insane what this build-out has been to the overall market, and I think for the next couple of years we're going to continue on that trajectory. So stick with the big boys. That's going to be TSM and NVDA. Hey, listen, if you happen to be wrong at some point, at least you put yourself in the right position, and I think that's the narrative in which you want to look for there. So not too bad. Someone was talking about Robinhood earnings. Yeah, let's do that right now while Sharif, he'll be back momentarily, and we'll get right back into the news. But we do have Robinhood earnings after the bell, and we'll touch on a couple of these names. Or no, we don't want the chart. We're going to go over to today. So after the bell, we have Robinhood, Arista Labs, and then Ford as well, guys. Cloudflare, Lyft. So a B lineup here, Upstart Holdings. But what I want to do is I want us to go over to the expected move here for Robinhood and see what we got going on, right? Like, just to see what we're kind of going to gauge here. And then later on after the news, maybe I'll stick around a little bit for you guys. 9.8% there in Robinhood. And then with the afternoon segment, we can go over a couple more expected moves if the boys aren't too busy. Man, HIMS is still bleeding. Wow. HIMS is really, really bleeding here, guys.
Dude, I mean, like, it's all sorts of dumbassery at that company.
Yeah,
bro.
man.
Like, what?
What was the point of this?
Because they're just gambling that they would be able to get away with it. Like, you didn't think you were going to get a response from Novo. I don't get it. You think they're just going to be like, hey, we spent billions on the patent, but yeah, go ahead, make some money.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think this is going to be a continued short here in HIMS, guys.
Right.
I don't know what's going on with yesterday's session. Like, we were trying to short this name on multiple occasions. Today, we were fortunate enough to get that short, but out really early as it's just been an all-day bleeder.
All right, let's go on to the next one. Cisco Systems. Interesting networking push here in 2026 upside signals. So Cisco unveiled multiple AI-focused networking upgrades that are aimed at scaling their AI workloads, as well as, improving efficiency and, of course, supporting hyperscaler data center demand. It allows faster switching, tighter AI integration, and systems designed to handle power-intensive AI clusters. And they're also working on this new Silicon One they're calling it G300. So this Silicon One G300 delivers 102.4
terabytes per second, terabits probably per second of switching capacity, setting a higher bar for AI back-end networking performance. It's designed for massive AI clusters. The chips emphasize throughput, security, programmability, and future-proof AI data centers, and they highlighted that you get 33% higher network utilization and 28% faster job completion, which improves, of course, your GPU efficiency. We've talked about this. NVIDIA's chips, these chips are not working in isolation. They all have to be on the same wavelength. I think, what do they call that word when everything is kind of jiving? I forget the name of the term that they use, but everything has to be super set so that they're all talking the same language at the same time, and a lot of that has to do with networking. So networking is super important. Cisco introduced a new AI-optimized system. They're calling it Cisco 9000, 8000 series. Sorry, I don't think I'm plugged in. All right, we're going to have to pause for a second. We're going up to the big desk.
BTU bouncing here off intraday lows. This is Peabody Energy. It's a coal play. Why are coal plays moving? Because White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, who just began her briefing just now at 1:45, said there will be holding an event on coal tomorrow. So tomorrow afternoon, U.S. President Donald Trump hosting an event on coal, BTU, and other coal plays on watch. Back to you.
SCO gave up the entire move here, guys. This is not good. So this was a nice gap up in the pre-market. From the low to the high, we were up about 4.5%. Now we're negative 0.1, so that kind of sucks. But to be fair to Cisco, I think Cisco Systems is at all-time highs. Well, let's hold on. No. Let's go back to the dot-com bubble because something tells me, is it? Katina Man, no, brother, look. Yeah, well, we're closing the gap, Katina Man. So, yeah, Cisco Systems was one of those dot-com plays. Obviously, that may never recover to that level. 146.75, I think that is the all-time high there. Today, we made local, let's call it millennial or century highs. Yeah. I think this was in the 90s. Is this not in the 90s? No, it was in March of 2000. So, all right, barely within the 21st century. But anyway, Joey, Cisco, what's
26 years to recover. I mean,
Yes,
that's
sir.
not bad, like, considering you have all the time in the world. If you've just been bag holding this one, essentially you've been doing all right. But in all seriousness, from those April marks, hasn't been horrible, especially if you're a new investor, longer term, something that you kind of shy away from. And it's like the COVID names that we talk about outside of the dot-com bubble. These guys will never recover and go back to those levels.
All right, let's talk a little Spotify today. Where's Spot at right now? Where are we at? We're up 15% on Spotify. Okay. They beat expectations both for premium subs and total users. In the fourth quarter, they added 9 million premium subscribers versus the 8 million expected. And now they have 290 million paying subs. That's a 10% bump year over year. But they're monthly active users, because not everybody pays, right? 751. That tops the estimates of Wall Street, which was looking for 745. And, you know, it's probably like that Netflix thing. You know, the more you listen to and you're not a premium sub, the more they make, right? Because advertising, it's just the more you listen, the more advertisements you're going to get. They posted earnings of $5.16 per share on earnings of $5.27 billion. That's above expectations of $3.23 per share. Joey, they printed $5.16. The street's looking for $3.23. That top line number beat is not, you know, great. 5.35. That looks like a revenue miss there, unless this is a typo. Results compare favorably to a year ago when they printed $1.83 a share on $4.4 billion, and the quarter reinforced improving operating leverage and stronger execution. For the guide, they're guiding a revenue forecast of $5.36 billion ahead of the $5. Well, again, that's wrong, so this is probably incorrect. And revenue that would be higher than from the $4.77 billion they printed last year. They also expect to add about 3 million premium subscribers by the end of March, bringing that number to about 293 million. Monthly active users projected to climb to 759 million. The analysts are expecting 752.7. Investors reacted positively to the evidence that Spotify's year of accelerated execution is translating into tangible results. Is that what the CEO said? Tangible execution? Who knows? All right, before we get Joey's take,
I want to bring in QNCX here, guys, for those who are still trading small cap gappers. Here it is again. So it's breaking trend. It was an obvious lower high, lower high, lower high pattern. That comes vis-a-vis, a trend break comes vis-a-vis that 145 candle. And now the 150 candle trying to knock on the door of 44 pennies. It's a 46.60 high. So keep your eye here on QNCX if you're small cap gapper inclined. Joe.
All right, so yes, take a look at some of these metrics here. Sharif was talking about the MAUs, they're the monthly active users. What I found interesting is gross margins around 33.1%. Isn't horrible. I thought it'd be slightly higher there. Operating income up 47% year over year, and then the free cash flow up to 834 million, full year of 2.9 billion. So not too bad of a quarter. Net income around 1.17 billion. It's finding it interesting. This thing is down 50%. Like at the lows from this peak to this $400 mark. So a $783 stock going down to $406, and you're getting somewhat of a rebound. But the street not in love with those numbers. Why? No. In my opinion, because you're starting to pull back a little bit here. You bounce off of some prior support levels, acting as current resistance. I thought you'd get a little bit more of a gap and go in this name, but you're still down 40% plus in Spotify off of that 2025, June of 2025 high there.
There goes QNCX into a new high a day, guys. It didn't breach by much, but technically is a new high. It's on the rampage to the high side now, and it is up an easy and not so big QNCX. 238% on the day, guys. So keep your eye on that one. Adara, please give us your opinion on Spotify.
Yeah, I mean, we know I am not a Shopify user. I mentioned before I have like some kind of coupon for this. Unfortunately, I have not yet redeemed it. But let's talk here about Spotify, SPOT. Yeah, I think what's interesting here, like this is just the total monthly active users, premium subscribers, and MAUs for Spotify each quarter. As you can see, like kind of vague sequential growth for all of these. Nothing too crazy here for SPOT, but I think with the stock move, I was actually quite impressed because, as you know, we have had Sean and Neil and everybody say this stock was beat up quite heavily. This is actually one of the ones that I was considering as potentially a short pick for the year for our 2026 pick. So, I mean, yeah, I think like not a bad look. Again, if you ever want any of these metric visuals, you can always check this out on X at TTV Research. But one thing I kind of find interesting here that stands out at me is kind of the sharper increase maybe than some of the other metrics for total monthly active users on a sequential basis, going from 713 million in Q3 25 to 751 in Q4 of 2025. So again, nice sequential increase. Sequential increase as well for ad-supported MAUs. Again, I'd have to break this down a little bit more to see what, I guess, how we're getting this MAU breakdown. Like, is it just these ad-supported MAUs, which also increased? And again, what percentage of this is also paid users? But interesting look here for SPOT. Back to you.
Yeah, I find it interesting. I thought this would be a name where you could have a couple more paid tiers. Obviously, you have the premium subscribers, but really take advantage of ad revenue, digital ad revenue. I don't really see that happening here in Spotify.
Well,
it's up 4%.
That's it, eh?
Well,
then they must not be increasing their regular, their non-premium subs. 4%, it's not too bad. It's not Amazon speed. Amazon was like 20 some odd
No,
percent,
but you think you'd see a little bit more of an increase considering we're in the digital ad world.
Are you a Spotify member?
No, but I'll be honest, man. Apple Music's kind of sucks. Spotify's where it's at, I feel like, dude.
I don't like Apple Music.
No, it's not that good. Yo, I don't know what it is, so I'll listen to Hoser, but then it will transition into like the weekend. It's like that's not the transition that I'm looking for every single time.
Yeah.
I feel like the flow in Spotify, like I'll put Spotify on the TV. I find the flow is much better than what we got going on.
I like the flow. I like the natural shuffle.
Yeah.
But can I say to you, they put in this AI, DJX.
Yeah.
And he kind of sucks.
He sucks, eh?
Yeah, like, and you know, you tell him, like, for example, like play, I don't know, late 90s hip hop, play top 40 late 90s hip hop, and it's not
We're not
the right
there
selection,
yet.
but
Fair enough.
in any event. All right, let's go on to the next one over here. Alibaba, let's just see if there are any more important stories. I'm just looking quickly because I don't want to waste time on this one.
The Salesforce job cuts.
You want to talk about the Salesforce? Yeah, let's talk about CRM, Joey. Good call. All right, so CRM reportedly cut part of its workforce earlier this month, impacting fewer than 1,000 employees. This is being reported by Business Insiders. The layoffs affected teams across marketing,
product. Data, as Salesforce continues to rebalance resources amid, that accelerating AI transition, probably doesn't help them with software Mageddon last week. The company has not publicly disclosed the cuts and did not immediately respond to the comment on the report. Apparently, they also appointed or promoted 6 execs to key business units, including Agentforce and Slack, 2 of their most important, I would say. The move replaces 5 high-profile leaders who have announced their departure since December, and it points, obviously, to ongoing leadership turnover. Management, according to the report, is focused on aligning leadership with AI-driven growth priorities rather than these legacy operations. The reduction does reflect, though, the broader industry shift as tech firms kind of expand beyond their AI adoption while trimming roles tied to routine or automatable work. And AI was cited as the driver behind more than 54,000 layoffs in 2025. That is according, if you believe that number, to Challenger, Gray, and Christmas. Salesforce's move aligns with peers aggressively restructuring cost basis to protect margins. Amazon, by way of example, cut 16,000 jobs in January after 14,000 job losses in October. In September, Salesforce eliminated 4,000 customer support roles, shrinking that headcount from 9,000 to 5,000. That was confirmed by the OG Benioff. And the actions reinforce, a trend of replacing labor-intensive support with AI workflows. Is this the beginning of the end, Joey?
It seems like it, man, especially in the cycle that we're currently sitting in and just this AI boom. Benioff just can't seem to get anything right. If you're cutting jobs, that's usually, unfortunately, a positive thing for the stock, but it doesn't matter what the street or what Benioff is doing at this point. The street doesn't like what we got going on in Salesforce. It's just continuing to drop. $193, you have a peak of around $360. You're getting a 50% haircut like that, and it just doesn't seem like it can get out of its own way. Agentforce, maybe not doing as good as Benioff would think or would like it to.
All right, Adair, give us your take on CRM.
I think the biggest thing with CRM is it's interesting, like we know CRM needed some kind of catalyst to buoy it. This clearly does end up being the catalyst. I know, like Sharif, you say this a lot. It's sad, obviously, when people get laid off, but it's something the market really seems to like. And I think especially for a stock like CRM that's just been so beaten up for so long, it did need some kind of growth. However, it's interesting, too, that even then we still can't get above 200. So it's like maybe as well the number of layoffs. Again, you never want to pontificate on, why didn't more people get laid off? But the amount, maybe not enough here for for investors. I think either way, this stock's been betting off of its highs for quite a while. It's going to, I think, still take some time for this to necessarily recover. And again, maybe this isn't the catalyst that does it long term. Where do we open here? We opened at like around 192, so we're about like $1.50 above where we opened. So yeah, I mean, obviously nice pop here, unfortunately not sustained. And again, unfortunately that people had to be laid off for this to happen. But even if you look here at the weekly chart, it's still obviously a long ways to go here for CRM. But yeah, just interesting sometimes the catalysts that do and don't move the market and the ways in which they move the market. Again, something I have a lot of time to sit and think about as I sit here and look at all of the news that gives us these moves and sometimes doesn't move anything at all. So interesting look here for CRM. Let's see if we even get more layoffs from this as well, given the exposure delay or announcement delay.
Thank you very much. Looking for anything to make this company pay more.
That's
They're just looking for something to kind of, send this one further down. Can it catch a break, dude?
I don't think so.
Did we look at the chart? Because this is a ridiculous chart on what was once, one of the big companies. Do you think this gets removed from the Dow soon?
Usually if it keeps performing, if it continues on this trajectory. I mean, I don't even know when the previous peak was in this thing. We're looking at 25.
That wasn't the high, Joey. I'll tell you the exact week.
Yeah.
The week of December, yes. December, 2nd, 2024.
Yeah,
the all-time high, 378.45.
I mean, and then it almost peaked once again in early or late January, but we're down 47%, right? We are in a year, over a year at this point. So I don't know, man. Benioff's gotta figure something out here.
Do you see a head and shoulders pattern here? I know I might be grasping at straws, but look at this. Preceded by an uptrend, left shoulder, head, right shoulder,
absolutely.
neckline breakdown around 230, 220.
Yeah, big time.
This is not good. And
No,
it's
it's not
losing
good.
200 on top of that, Joe.
And like it's like how many good things, their earnings reports weren't horrible. He's laying people off, but they just can't find any form of a bottom. So yeah, it's a really tough look in Salesforce.
Yep. All right, guys, it is 2:01. Thank you for joining Joseph and myself today. We're going to be back on the same bat time, the same bat channel tomorrow. We're going to send you over to the Big Kahunas.